What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Sammy Jo, and you are listening to the Homegirl Fox podcast. I'm here with my special guest, Darlene.
Hello.
Darlene is really special because she's also part of the audience, and I love that. I love meeting my audience, and I love connecting with people. We just met at a party.
Yes.
Shout out to Dose. It was Dose's birthday. Met her over there, and she just showed mad love right away. Told me how much she was related to the podcast, and you guys know that. I love that. I love when when homies and homegirls, hit me up and they're just like excited because they can relate. Like if this thing don't relate, it's not working. You know
Definitely.
what I mean? We're gonna talk pretty deep today. We're gonna have a deep conversation. I've been looking for somebody to talk about being a recovering addict. And I've been looking for this because people do reach out to me and, they want to hear certain things from the show. So they're like, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought about that? I get this all the time, which is totally cool. I love your guys' feedback. I love, your guys' ideas. Some things have been brought to the table, but this is a really hard thing to do. She's feeling like all the nerves right now. It's totally hurting her. But I get it from two different places, Putting myself out here on the show is not always easy. And I explained to her that, like, you do hurt people in your lives' feelings at times by speaking your truth. But you help heal yourself and you help heal others by speaking your truth and saying, because here's the thing about family and what, like, when these things connect. And I mentioned this in a podcast before, like, family wants you to do as good as possible. Like your parents want you to graduate,
Yes.
Your grandma wants you to become a fucking doctor, they want that picture from the traditional times for you. That's what they want for themselves. That's what they want from you. That's what they want for their children. And it's not always a pretty picture. Life is not a pretty picture. Like name one person who had the best life ever. Like, no, nobody. Sorry.
We all go through things.
We all go through things. Money, no money, it's just life. Life is just not perfect.
See, I got raised really Mexican traditional, so it was like, you don't tell your story. That's
exactly
like how it is.
My nana would say the same, like you're here to be seen, not heard.
Yes, exactly.
And we're in different times now. We're different times. Shit, Latinas are getting their own podcasts and stalking that shit. You know what I mean? Like we just letting it all out, and we're especially here. I don't give a fuck. Like I really worked hard to be this sensitive. Like I wasn't always this sensitive. So like you could call me a chiona, you could call me whatever you want, but it's like I worked really hard to get to this point to really feel my sadness, to really show my sadness, to really share with you guys my sadness. And some people will never understand that. It's almost like kind of robotic for different people. But I'm like, no, we're here now, and we have platforms like this, and we actually get to share especially our Latino or Latina experience with being raised around that, the traditional stuff, and you hurt people's feelings because they don't want those things out of the bag. Like nobody likes to say like my, if I were in that place, like if it was my brother or my sister, like I would hate to hear somebody accuse one of them of molesting someone. I would hate it,
Yeah, that's true.
But if that happened, I would have to accept that that is something that really fucking happened, and it's unfortunate, but people and families do that all the time.
Yeah, I feel like in a Mexican household, it usually gets brushed under the rug.
For sure. And I would expect the same thing. I have black homies who like, we talk on some deep stuff, and like, I'm the homegirl. So, the homies get like way more personal with me than like their chicks or the chicks that they meet. So they be telling me some deep stuff. Like they be starting off real fucking early. You got to think about what men have learned, being passed down, and then like what they think they need to learn on their own. You know what I mean? It's like I've heard it all and seen it all. I've had someone recently come up to me at a party, and this was it was weird. But they told me that somebody that I grew up with molested them, and they're related. And it was so like rough to hear it. Like I almost wanted to back this person up, but I also was like, you know what? I know this person, and that could totally be the truth.
Yeah, definitely.
That could totally be truth, which is why women really don't speak their truth, because you get so much of the backlash when it comes to these things.
In my case, I used to always think of it like, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks because I know what I went through. I know what I felt.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you believe me or not.
Right.
Like, I'm just like, this is what happened.
Yeah. And I mean, I've always felt the same. Like, there was really nothing you could say, but for a long time, I never even mentioned it. Because it was just like, I don't even want to hear it. Like, I don't even want to hear anybody go against me. Because different people can handle different things, you know what I mean? And for me, I was like, just seeing people as I grew up with, especially my homegirls, like being denied even to be heard was like, dang, like that hurts. That hurts. It hurts to watch a friend like ask for help and people instead throw judgment, you know, or accuse.
Yes.
Well, you were drinking, so you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Well, you were wearing that bathing suit. You were wearing the skirt, and you were, you know, all of a sudden it's just because the girl has tits and because the girl looks the way she looks, it's all her fault because she pretty much asked for it, you know, and that's fucking it. And all the guys have a real good thing where they back each other the fuck up. Like, guys back each other up. I wish some girls, like, I wish us homegirls we would have that extra, like, girl code, but we just don't. We just don't. But guys, oh, man. Like, I see things, like, in the media eye when it comes to, like, girls, and first thing is she wants money. First thing is, like, well, you know, it's all, they will fucking gang up together and back each other up. Why is he paying child support? Like, oh my, I'm like, man, that's friendship.
It gets crazy.
I'm like, that. You don't even know that fool, you know? But this is important because, you know, we're like just people that really, really don't know each other like that. So like, if this can stand for anything, it stands for also women coming together, sharing their stories, and standing with you. And today I'm here to stand with you, and just hear your story and hear, basically like me and my audience, like we're here to listen and receive whatever, you know. Well, how can I explain it? I just feel like it's not honored, but I think it's really hard to share your story with people.
Definitely.
So I feel like I should just thank you right now. Like, thank you for being down for this and wanting to share it. It's important to me, and I know it's going to be important for a lot of people to hear it. So we will start there, okay? I know you're nervous, so girl, you need that more Hennessy.
No, I'm okay.
Throw it up.
I feel better now.
You feel
Thank
okay?
you. Yeah,
okay,
I
good.
feel good.
So let's start from the beginning. I know like this leads into after you're a certain age, but she did mention something that did happen to her as a child, and I want to go start from the childhood first. Let's do it.
I grew up very poor, I want to say. My mom, she had 5 kids, and it was hard. Those times were really hard, I remember. So we lived in Compton.
Poor and 5 kids. Your girl knows all about it. Shout out to Pastor Penny. It's fucking hard.
It's very hard.
I like look back now. I'm like, how the fuck did they do it?
Yeah, definitely.
You know? Because my grandma helped her. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, she was a single mom as well. My grandma helped her as
Yeah.
well. So growing up there, my mom was always at work. You know, sometimes we had to get stuff fixed around the house. So there was this manager that we always had, and
He was like managing the apartments?
Yes, managing the apartment. I mean, now I remember. But the way I remembered was my sister a lot of years after, like I was already in high school, and she went to go visit one of the friends, like one of the neighbors that we grew up with. And she told her that the manager had molested a few girls and he's in jail now. So I didn't go that day. I just didn't want to go. So when she came back and told me, I just sat there and I remember like having to leave from her sight because I wanted to break down. So I just went to my room and I started crying. I was crying so bad, like this cry that was like, I've lost somebody. Like it was so bad. I remember that. And I remember feeling like, then those flashbacks came back, which was like, he would go fix our sink or something got clogged. And it would kind of be like around 5, 6, but that time it's already getting dark. So we had pajamas on.
Yeah.
And we had shorts with long shirts, you know, that. Yeah. I don't know, but that was how we slept a lot.
For sure.
So I remember, like he would ask me to help him fix the sink. And that's when he'd molest me.
Yeah. But you didn't remember this whole time.
I didn't remember this whole time. I didn't remember none of it until my sister came back from the friend's house when I was already in high school. And now I remember those visions vividly in my head.
It's crazy.
It's so crazy.
It's crazy because I've talked about this on the show before. If you guys haven't seen, if you guys haven't heard the Miracle Warriors with Eddie, he speaks his truth on that and he talks about that. And I get it because I had something similar. Like I didn't realize something happened to me until I was doing something that made me get flashbacks of it, where I was like, oh shit, like that really happened. And I don't even know the psychological term for it, but it could be some of you, like easily, because it's almost like a defense mechanism that you block it out so bad. You know, that trauma just like is so bad throughout your life that you're moving forward, you know, and that you never, it's the same thing about healing. Like if you never heal, like you're not going to heal if you don't go through it.
Exactly.
So if it's in your head like it never happened, then you just don't think it exists until one day, obviously, something comes up and boom, it hits that part of your brain. And now you vividly have all these thoughts. Now what age were you again? You said you were in high school when that happened? When you found out?
I remembered, yes.
Yeah.
I was in high school.
But that was happening to you at what age?
When I was 5.
Yeah.
And plus I was so young.
Yeah.
So people don't really remember the early ages. So
Of course not. Of course not. Do you see like the Jenny Rivera story? Like, you know, with her girls, like it disgusts me, but like, you don't know what happened to you as a baby. Really None of us don't.
No.
You know what I mean? So we're all, it sucks, but you don't know which disgusting fuck is gonna, you know, who's around you. And when you're a hardworking mom, you don't know who's at home. You know what I mean? And when you can't be home all the time, like you don't know who's with your kids. You know what I mean? And you just can't always trust anybody. And sometimes it's very unfortunate, but sometimes that's families, friends, you know, just it's, in this case, it was literally a manager at an apartment there should definitely be an adult around when stuff like that's going down.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's super unfortunate. And I'm sorry that happened to you. So let's go from there. You're like a freshman when you found that out, right?
Yes, when I remember.
So what started happening after that?
So I think we have to go a little bit more ahead because another incident had happened to me when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
So I had a relative that we lived with, and I got molested by him as well.
Wow.
And at that time, I don't know what happened where me and my little brother stayed at my mom's house, at my grandma's house. And the other 3 siblings stayed with my mom.
Okay.
I don't remember like what happened. Like I talked to it with my brother and I'm like, how did we end up staying there? Like we don't remember.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And there was a lot of relatives that lived in the house.
Okay. So people coming in and out.
Yeah. And my grandma was always at work. She worked from 8 in the morning to 7 at night.
Yeah.
So I remember when that happened, I was so scared. I always would run to see my brother.
And you're okay. So this one at 8 years old, you know what's happening.
Yeah, I know what's happening
Got
now.
you. Yeah.
And I know that it's not okay.
100.
So I'm scared for my brother.
Yeah.
Like that's my number one thing, like my brother. So I remember there was upstairs and downstairs, and when I'd hear someone coming down, I would think it's him.
Yeah.
So I would run up and go upstairs like right away and see where my brother is, see if he's okay.
Yeah.
Cuz I was like a child raising a child. Yeah. And it was hard. It was so hard.
Yeah, it's hard. You have to grow up very fast. Yeah. You don't think for yourself no more. You know, your focus is almost like you just feel like a mom already.
Yeah. And he was I want to say he was like in 2nd grade.
Okay.
And I was like from 4th grade. Mm-hmm. So I remember when he got at the end of 4th grade, about to be in 5th grade. Mm-hmm. That's when I was already in middle school. He told me one day, like, I'm sorry, Darlene, but I miss mom. I want to go with her. And I told him, you don't have to be sorry. If you miss mom, then you miss mom. You go with mom.
Yeah.
So he went and I stayed.
Why did you stay?
Because I love my grandma.
Okay. You just felt safer with your grandma?
Yeah.
Got you.
And I knew, like, my mom and my siblings had it tough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it was...
I understand.
It was almost like we always had to go to my grandma's house to eat meals
anyway.
Or stuff like that. Yeah. So,
for food and stuff.
Yeah. And my mom was always at work. I mean, my grandma was too, but I felt the motherly love more from my grandma.
I understand.
So,
how old was your mom? Like, is your mama, was she a young mom?
Yes,
or?
she was a young mom.
Okay. And that's usually where that comes from.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she had my sister when she was 17. My older sister, yes.
Yeah. Okay, we have the same life.
I know, that's what I was telling you.
Yeah, I know you did tell me that.
I was like, it's crazy. Yeah. We have similar stories.
Yeah, no, but a lot of homegirls tell me, like, the whole mom and then, you know, the mom and the nana taking care of everyone and the mom's at work, like, we all could relate.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? So
my brother ended up going back, and that's when I was like a rebel. I used to be scared, like, of my grandma getting in trouble by my grandma. I used to be scared, like, I'm never...
Wait, you were scared of what?
Like, getting in trouble by my grandma.
Oh, okay. I thought you said your grandma getting in trouble by your grandma. I'm like, how?
No, I was always scared of getting in trouble by my grandma.
Yeah.
So now my brother's at my mom's, and I'm the only one there. And I was a rebel. I just, like, pretty much... Like, when I think about it now, I think of, you're just like, okay, you don't have nobody to take care of no more. And I was going through all those emotions, not realizing. And I used to be scared to ditch. Like, 6th grade, I was scared to ditch. Like,
well, yeah, girl, 6th grade, bitch.
I know, but I'll never...
I didn't start ditching till, like, high school. Well, I mean, okay, maybe 8th grade, I ditched, like, a couple times. But, yeah, 6th grade.
Yeah, 6th and 7th grade.
I mean, you're a child.
Yeah. My grandma. Yeah. Like, but out there, I guess, I don't know. We were...
Girl, you were in the jungle.
Yeah.
You were in the jungle. Crazy. You felt... Here's another thing that I don't think people understand. Like, you become a product of your environment is one.
Yes, definitely.
But becoming a product in your environment, like, your survival mode is somebody totally different than anyone you're going to be in life. I just read something like that recently where I was like, oh my God, I'm still living off my survival mode of me, which is where we were, in a place where you, even though you have a grandma, you have a mom, you have 5 siblings, you feel super alone in the world.
Yes, definitely.
You know the things that have happened to you, so you're just like, no, you feel alone even more. So you know, that adds a whole other part of being alone, because you're like, oh, no one's even been through this. You know what I mean? Like, you have all these defense mechanisms going on. Like, survival mode is not you.
Yeah.
You know, like, it is somebody else that you have to be in order to survive. So I think that's what you're really going through.
Yeah. And then I didn't tell anybody that happened with the family member, because I was scared. Mm-hmm. And I also thought this is what I thought. I was young. I just thought like, I can't hurt my grandma. That was my number one thing. Like, she does so much stuff for me. I can't hurt her.
Yeah.
And I was like always saying that, like, I can't tell nobody. I remember that.
It sucks. It fucking sucks because it could help so much.
Yeah.
But it could just, it sucks. You really, you can't even really be selfish about it. And you shouldn't have to be put in a place like that. But, you know, this happens all the time. So we'll just keep it moving from there.
Yes.
So you don't want to hurt your grandma.
So I don't want to hurt my grandma. I'm now like in 7th grade, going to 8th grade. I want to say my 8th grade year wasn't so bad, but it still was, because now in 8th grade, I told a few of my friends.
Okay. You opened up.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I remember, okay, so through everything, I'm really thankful that my grandma and my mom were still able to give me a quinceañera.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
Because we were
100.
so broke.
I get it.
For them to give me those memories is everything to me.
I totally understand.
So, I remember during one of my practices of my quinceañera, I told one of my friends, and I remember going into the room, and I used to hang around with a group of girls, and we all went in my room, and I just cried and cried, and then that's when one of them else opened up, and they said their story, and so now I don't feel that much alone.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Eighth grade is especially when you got your homegirls, you know, writing letters and you know, expressing yourself, what's going on in your guys' homes. It's definitely a different time to express yourself when you have homegirls who feel the same. I never opened up about that too far because I was still in a survival mode of girls, like people telling your stuff and doing, you know what I mean? It took me a long time to like really say it because I didn't trust nobody. You know what I mean? I didn't trust nobody at all. I hope that was an okay decision for you. How did your friends take it when you explained yourself?
Well, it was at the time it was good because they opened up with their story.
Yeah.
And we were able to relate and good.
Not feel alone.
Yes. But going back a little bit, I was in elementary school. I was the tall, chubby girl. I've always had a problem with my weight.
Okay.
And now I look back at my pictures, I'm like, I wasn't even chubby.
Well, fuck, you're a little girl still.
I know.
Like, yeah, you're the tallest one, but you're still young.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I have friends like that where they say, like, I've heard that one, you know, like, and my sister, that's why I grow up on, like, I'll beat you up if anybody says anybody's fat because I'm super sensitive to that, you know?
I am too.
My
it's
sister
like
was,
crazy.
My sister had always been, like, chubby since we were little. And growing up, like, I had to back her up on that end because they'd try and bully her.
Yeah.
And I was just not about it. I'm like, no, my sister's big. My nana's big. I'm fighting everybody. You know what I mean? But even me, like, my weight goes up and down. And the only reason my weight goes down is because I end up doing stuff like this where I have to be seen and shit like that. I just talked about this. But there is some, I know where you're going to go with this actually. And because I know friends who have gone through this, but your weight will definitely affect you.
Yes, it will.
Like it can really see. Some people put it out there like if they talk about themselves that like it's cool because it's funny and you could get by on that, which is fine. I get it, but no, your weight and being around other girls and all that, it's so much fucking pressure. It's sad. It's really, really sad actually, because you might tell your friend like, no, girl, you look good or blah, 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 but it's not you. It's what they feel in themselves. And I tell people all the time, like people don't think because like, yeah, I got skinny at one point and this and that, but like, I'm like, I have lived both lives. Like people treat you different. Depending on what the fuck you are.
They really do. And I grew up with my sisters, both of them being a 0 and a 00. And I was the
Que la
chubby one.
chingada.
Yeah. And I was 3 girls, right? 3 girls, 2 boys. So yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
And
It's rough. It builds a big insecurity in your life.
Yes.
And that insecurity is another thing that will fucking make you feel
Yes.
alone.
And then I used to get bullied, so that's another thing.
I would have beat him up, dude.
Yeah, I was like the biggest one, but it was like weird because they were kind of my friends, but they still bullied me.
Oh, I hate these
like
bitches.
It was the boys. The boys of the block.
Oh, boys are the worst.
Yes. And I remember like one time I was like in the field, the kickball field, and somebody just came out of nowhere, grabbed me by both of my legs and flipped me over. And I was like, oh my God. But that wasn't the worst. The worst is like, did you see her? She pulled out a chicken wing from her pocket.
What?
I was like, oh my God.
What? Okay, wait. Was there a chicken wing around you at all? Someone just made this shit up? Fucking little bastards. Oh my God.
Worst
yeah, but
time.
Okay, so you're a kid. Like, okay,
I'm a kid.
Bullying. Here comes another one. The fucking bullies. Bullies can fucking ruin you. Thankfully, your homegirl, was the bully against all the bullies. So guys are getting knocked out every other day. My mom had to come pick me up, take me to Taco Bell after. She's like, what happened? I'm like, Mom, he said, yo, mama, done. Good. I got away with everything.
Well, that was me in middle school. So now I'm in middle school and I'm the bully now.
That's fucking right. Sometimes, you know what? Here's the thing, though. I bet you were a good bully, though.
Yeah, I was. I would stick up for like the little weak kids that everyone picked on, like the nerdy kids with glasses.
That's when that tall big shit started to come in handy. It's like, what's up? A fucking security. What's up?
But then there was also like those pretty preppy girls that I was jealous of that I'd make fun of.
Oh, I get that.
So, you know
what? I knew girls like that, actually.
Yeah.
I knew girls like that. The only problem was I was friends with the preppy girls and, all that too. But like knowing your past and knowing like what you grew up in, like that's all that shit added up to.
Yes.
That person that's mad.
That's mad, yeah.
You're angry. You're pissed.
I wanted to be like them. I really did.
It's an envy that you just like, it almost irritates the fuck out of you, and girl, even to this day, once in a while, that shit will pop up in me. And when that does happen too, like, we're at a different place in our lives. Like me, I have to work on my shit, like, cause I don't want to be like that, so it's a process. Yes. So no one blames you for being the bully to pretty girls.
But that was part of my past. Like I was that person. So by being that person, I was, I lost all those girls. Mm-hmm. All those girls, the group of girls that I'd hang around with that I told.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of like, hey, you're a bully. I don't want to be your friend.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, wow. I didn't even realize I was a bully.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Until
I know. Okay, yeah. I know people like this.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is crazy. Until they told me. And then I was like, oh, shoot, I am.
Yeah.
I am. And I apologize. I can always admit, that's one thing that I like about myself, that I can admit when I'm wrong. And I will tell you I'm wrong and I'll apologize. But at that point,
it's a good thing to have.
Yeah. They're probably fed up that they didn't accept my apology.
Yeah. They're just, you already put a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
And I knew people like that. And like, I had been friends with certain people where I'd be like, I never really befriended people, but I'd be like, I'm good. Cause like, that's too much energy right there. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have that. Like, I wanted to be friends with everyone. And I was like, I just want to be as cool as possible, But I knew girls like that. And you know what? It's crazy, but that's what that big girl mentality will do to you too. Like, it pulls that out of you. It's unfortunate. I've felt those feelings, girl. Like, the first time I ever lost weight, I'm not even gonna front on this. The first time I ever lost weight was out of revenge. Like, straight up. I can't tell you anything else. I can't even tell you that it was for me. I'd be bullshit fucking liar on the show right now if I fucking said that. It was like, oh, okay, you bitches fucking think you're cute. You bitches fucking all want to gang up on me and everyone's going to take your sides because of the way you guys look. Okay. See you guys in a fucking year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, that's what type of fucking, it literally took me to be like, had to do it in revenge, because I was just like, this is bullshit, because I look like this,
yeah,
and y'all, you know, and I couldn't stand it. And sure enough, that's when I started to learn that people treat you fucking differently
on the way
when
you
you're
look.
small.
Yeah, it's
You know?
true.
Small and all. And just to go along with that, because this is real life. You know, around that time that I got really thin, I'm not saying like it was all drugs, but that was around the time that I started to dip into different drugs, which at the time was cocaine. And I remember like friends of mine who did it, who'd be like, now you're gonna be even smaller. And I would be like, really? Like, I would be okay with doing it even though I knew it was wrong, because I knew what it did. And that was really bad. You know what I mean? So like, some of the people that you're all worshiping, some of them are trying to keep, some of them, and I know a lot of people who do this, are literally on that diet. Like, so there's some people, like, I don't say nothing. I would never put anybody's shit on blast. But I know plenty of people who act like they work out and act like everything's all good and they're really, really skinny. And they gain all this attention and they love that love. But sadly, behind that, like, they do that shit all the time. And it might not be cocaine. It could be the fucking Pookie. But they know it keeps their weight down. I grew up with girls in high school who hit the Pookie because once they started seeing how much weight they lost, it was over. I even knew. I was like, oh shit. Like, damn, I'll try with you, bitch, but what are we doing now? Like, wait a minute. Like, every other day, every day, like, I could never keep. First of all, a bitch has been poor her whole life. You got to have some money to buy drugs.
Yeah, definitely.
You got to have money to buy drugs. But when I would see people use it like that, I was like, oh, damn, no wonder. Is this the addiction? Is it that you lose so much weight? Like, oh, fuck. Because I definitely lost friends in high school who just couldn't stop doing it because of the weight. You know? And then they're coming to school and they're showing their bodies to us and I'm fat. So I'm like, fuck you, you fucking crackhead. You know what I mean? And it's out of envy because you're losing weight, but you're doing bad shit. Like, I don't want to do it to do that, but I'm like, shit. That was the first time in high school that I learned that people do this shit to drop weight. I'm not sure if that's your story.
No, that's not. Actually, like, when I was I was addicted to crystal meth.
Okay.
But that wasn't in high school. So now in high school, I and did cheat a lot. So I don't have friends. All those friends left me, right?
Yeah. Don't go to school.
Yeah, don't go to school now.
Yeah.
Now
You're a bully.
I'm not a bully anymore. I'm in 9th grade. I realized what I was doing, so I'm trying to be cool.
Yeah.
So I used to ditch and I'm from San Pedro, so there's
She's fucking representing San Pedro out here. She got fucking Pirate Town. She brought her stickers out. Let her know.
so there's so many hills up there.
Okay.
Hills, so I'd walk all the time. And now I'm smoking weed, so we're going to all the parks. There's a lot of parks. There's the coast right there. We ditch there. So,
yeah.
So walking all this times, now I'm realizing like we don't really have money because we're spending on weed. So there's a lot of vegetables and fruit trees around there.
Okay.
So I'd be in my bag picking oranges, apples that we would see.
Yeah.
So I ended up losing weight.
Okay. From doing that.
Yeah. But when I look back, I still feel fat. I still felt like I was overweight. I still felt like I was that little girl in elementary. You know, the really big overweight.
You stood out.
Person. Yeah.
You still felt that person in you.
Yeah. It wasn't about my weight. I still to this day have issue about it because so I did crystal meth for about 3 to 4 years. At the time when you're doing it, you don't realize it's that long.
3 or 4 years?
Yeah, I thought it was like a year that I did it.
Oh shit.
But no, it was longer than that.
You were on 3 to 4. Yeah.
And
were you one of those people that you're like, I was functional, so I felt like I was fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always, and that is the thing. Being a functional pothead compared to being a functional drug user like that, like, you got to understand, like, that is just being an addict.
Yeah.
Like, there is no functional any kind of drug abuser. You're just an addict.
Like, I would have, like, there was a time where I sat there, looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, you're a tweaker.
Damn.
We don't use those words, but I've
never had that moment, but
I'm like, dude,
I could never imagine.
It was the worst feeling. I would look, and I'm just looking in the mirror like, you're making yourself ugly.
Wow. That's rough.
It's
because what you tell yourself in the mirror. That's why I say, like, that sounds crazy. Because, like, me, sometimes I have to look at myself in the mirror and tell myself, like, be nice to yourself today. Like, be kind to yourself. And some of those are the biggest, like, attitude changes. You know what I mean? So to look yourself in the face and be like, you're on it. Like, that just sounds really fucking like a deep moment of self-reflection.
Definitely. I had plenty of deep moments. And never did I get a reality check. It took me so many times to tell myself this, to actually be like, okay, I am.
Where did that start, though? Who did you pick that up from? Or you don't have to say who, but did you pick it up from a friend, a family member, a friend? So like you had some friends in school, and
yeah, I had so in San Pedro, if you live the main street, if you live above Gaffey,
okay,
then they consider yourself wealthy. So that's all the longshoremen.
Okay.
All those people right?
with good jobs.
Money. Yes. And if you live below that, they consider it the ghetto.
Okay.
So I was singing around with people below Gaffey.
Gotcha.
People that live in the projects now.
Okay.
And stuff like that.
And this is where your grandma lives, right?
Yes, my grandma.
This is when you were living with your grandma.
Yes.
Okay.
But we didn't live. Okay, so we lived below Gaffey, but we didn't live so the higher the numbers, the less ghetto it is. That's what they say.
Okay.
So.
But you were hanging out at the bottom.
I was hanging out at the bottom.
Okay.
Yes. So I was hanging out with them, and a friend one time. I knew what it was. I always knew what everything was. Mm-hmm. I got raised by my uncles.
Okay.
At my grandma's house.
Okay.
And they're all different. One was like a punker, one was like a cholo, the other one was like a hippie, like Grateful Dead, Pink Floyd, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my mom was like super Mexican, paisali.
Sounds right.
So yeah, I have all that in me.
Yeah.
So my uncle, I guess because I was a woman and a girl at that age, I guess. And I guess he saw a lot of me and him. He put me on game.
Okay.
On everything.
Okay.
Don't take this. Don't do this. If they give you this, you do this. If you see somebody doing that, you do this.
Okay.
So I knew what it was. And I don't know why. One of middle school friends had passed away.
Okay.
And he had OD'd.
Okay. Off meth?
No, off a bunch of pills.
Pills. Okay.
Yeah. So I remember it was around that time. And my friend, she had some. Because she had her relatives from the gang, so they were always like around it, always going to her house, teaching. Like she grew up really fast because of that.
Yeah,
and that's where I did it at.
Yeah, I'm actually super grateful that people did drugs like behind our backs in our family, because I didn't know till like way later like who had what drug problem, and honestly, my mom's watching. I'm grateful that you actually just kept that out of my life, because I think had I saw it sooner, most things, I would have definitely picked it up sooner. Like my mom beat me up for saying happy 420, and I didn't even know what 420 meant. And I think I was like in 6th grade when that happened. But like people wouldn't think this at all about me, but I actually was fortunate not to grow up around any of that shit. So I would just suggest too, like if you're a parent and whatnot, one of the best things you could do, save your child, is just to keep that shit just so far away. Just to start, just to say it.
I feel like sometimes though, it depends on the environment you live in.
For sure. If you're on the street 24/7, you're going to see shit.
Well, because like, if you go down certain streets, you see people on the sidewalk
just doing it.
Yeah, and they're like, or like just tripping out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, like,
we got the Walking Dead out here, like big time, where someone just swinging in the air. Like I've always known that they were on something. I never knew what those things were. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I never really paid too much attention in like dare programs and stuff like that. Like I always saw like the needle, weed. Like they don't say too much things about speed.
That's true.
They don't show you how things are broken up. Actually, they show you like how the heroin's made. You know what I mean? Like how they heated it up and stuff, like the spoon and all that shit. But like, and Blood in, Blood Out. If you watch it all the time, then fuck, you're gonna know what the fuck that is. Yeah. But yeah, people on the street definitely, and you see like, I grew up walking through alleys all the time, so like you see pipes broken and you see shit on the floor. You know what I mean? But let's find out about this experience when you did it the first time.
So when I did it the first time, it was a little bit. So I didn't really like feel anything that, like, I just felt like, okay, like I just stayed awake, but it didn't give me like that rush.
And meth, this was meth, right?
Yes.
So is meth like more of I don't know. I don't actually know. Is it more like a upper?
Yes. Upper.
Okay. I don't like uppers.
Yeah.
I need to slow my roll. I fucking do too much. That's why I like this and I like weed. All right. But yeah. So let's continue. You tried meth for your first time. It wasn't a lot.
No, it wasn't.
So you were kind of like, that wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
So how'd you get around to doing it the next time?
The next time, well, so now I'm hanging around with a bad crowd, like kicking it in.
So like
garages.
socially, you started doing it.
Yeah. And then, but I didn't do it. I did coke.
Okay.
And then one time I didn't know it was crystal, and somebody told me it was coke.
Yeah. I never seen coke until I was an adult. Like people in high school, like looking back at it, I never did it. So like I'd be like, they would say they have it and all this stuff, but half the time I would know like dealers or whatever, and they're like, no, like it's tweak, like we're tweaking.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I always knew what it looked like. So seeing coke for the first time as an adult, I was like, wait a minute, like that's not it.
Different.
It looks different. It totally looks different.
Well, this one, it was crushed up. And already, and when they're crushed up, it kind of looks similar, but it was in the dark.
Yeah.
So it's white in a dollar bill. You think it's coke?
Yeah, for sure.
So I did a line. I remember it was a big line too.
Okay.
And I was up.
Yeah.
I was ready to go. Like, what are we gonna do? Let's go do something.
Yeah.
I was up. Yeah. I remember that.
And that's what that first up was that like you were like, I want more of that.
Yeah, I had a lot of energy. I could do a lot of things, get a lot of things done.
Yeah, for sure. I hear that stuff too in certain people. I mean, when we talk, we'll make jokes here and there, but like that's what they say about all the white people, like in the suits, and they're like, dude, these fools are just. You don't think with all that money that they, you know, that all day that they just have all this like energy, and it's like, damn, do they or do they not? Y'all fucking cheaters. Got no energy sometimes.
Yeah.
So you started taking it more because you kind of not just being around your friends or your environment, but you liked how it made you fill up.
And honestly, like at that time, you'd forget. I'd forget all the stuff that I went through.
Well, thinking back, like just me right now, when you say everything that you're saying and we're going through this story, I'm picturing everything. And I just pictured you finally found something that can take you away from all that shit. It can take you away from all those feelings. I could already tell just like you telling me that story.
But this is like, okay, so this, when I first tried it, I was already out of, I dropped out at 11th grade.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So it was around that time.
What did your grandma say about that?
She didn't know. I just didn't.
Shit.
I would play her because she would drop me off at school.
Whoa.
And I would leave through the other gate.
Chinga.
Yeah.
See, Nana, you said
Grandma.
I was. You see,
Sorry,
Nana,
Grandma.
you said I was a disappointment. Bullshit.
Yeah, it was bad. I didn't
I'm
even
fucking
like,
with you.
realize how bad I was until like I think back and I'm like, dude, why did I do that? And that's one of the biggest regrets that I have, that I didn't pay attention more in school.
Oh, that's a lot of ours for sure. Well, look at it. You don't know what you are going through because you're a child.
Yeah.
I don't even blame you one bit because you have been pulled all over the place. You don't have any discipline around. You have no type of foundation that's legit for you. You know what I mean? Your feelings are going unheard, unseen. You feel no validation in your life, which means you feel no worth.
Yeah.
And when you don't feel no worth in your life, you do shitty things.
I remember being depressed a lot too. Depressed a lot, but would help me a lot. Like, honestly, there was a few times where I wanted to end my life.
For sure.
And I remember like on my wrist, I'd like try to cut myself or something, but then I'd like sit there and I'm like, how would my grandma feel?
Yeah.
I'd always think of my grandma. That's the number one thing that helped me not kill myself is my grandma. Because I didn't want her to put her through so much pain
After
because
everything.
she already worked so hard for me.
Yeah.
Like so hard. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I get it.
And so I didn't want to kill myself anymore, but I didn't want to feel so hurt. I didn't want to feel so sad.
Yeah.
So I'd burn myself with like a metal. I remember I'd get like a fire and light it to a metal and I'd put it on my wrist. If you could see here, I still have like
I see it.
marks.
I see them.
And it reminds me like now I told myself you're not going to cover those until you can completely heal and tell your story and it be good.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm there now. So I have this turtle. It was my first tattoo. So I want to cover it with a like comic version of this turtle so it can be the way I see myself on the
Powerful.
inside.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Powerful.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's so crazy.
No, that's your story and that's your truth. You know what I mean? And it means something. You know what I mean? Like you don't even know yet. You're going to find out after this. But you're here. And I hope that those scars also remind you that like you're still here for some reason.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
I feel like I am meant to help people because I love to help people even now. Like later on we'll go get more into it, but I've almost had 3 near-death situations. Mm-hmm. And those times, sometimes people don't survive those things. So you're like,
absolutely, I'm
meant to be here. I don't know for what reason, but I just have to keep pushing.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself.
You know, you told me something earlier, and I know we'll get into it because I know about the car crash.
Yes.
And like you just said, like a couple things happened where you like survived. These are like those things I always talk to you guys about when I say that, like, you know, you see the red flags, and then somebody called them fun flags one time. I was like, no, they're red flags, okay? And as many times as God shows you them and you don't want to see them, he will show you again in another way. So it's like almost like it's up to you to decide what lessons you want to learn, you know, and coming out of them, you come out of them for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, and for what I don't even know all 3 accidents or whatever happened that put your life there. But it's definitely saying, I'm fucking talking to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Look at, you're still here. You know,
that.
let me here. You're not learning, so you got unfortunate. But like these are the things that, you know, will get you to wake up. You know, and I think surviving things like becoming someone who is recovered, because that could easily put you 6 feet.
Yeah, definitely.
Like even just surviving that. If you are not here to do something, like I'm sure God would have took you a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm glad you want to help people. I know like just admitting to this story will help you. And you're going to find out. But let's talk about once you started to use this frequently.
So when I started to use it frequently, we were going through a really hard time at my house with my grandma. Mm-hmm. So I guess one year we rented. It wasn't her house. We rented.
Okay.
But we lived in that house for I want to say like 20 years. Because we moved out when I was like 21.
Okay.
Yeah, I lived there most of my life.
Okay.
And so now it's a lot of us. We're broke still, but we're getting older. Mm-hmm. And now it's like my grandma moved out. She moved out into her own apartment with my grandpa because it was too much of us, and she left the house to us.
Oh, damn.
Eventually, the owner said that his dad was getting old and he wanted to come to his house, which is the one we lived in.
Yeah.
So we had to leave.
Yeah.
They gave us like a month in advance.
Damn. People do that. I that happens completely.
Yeah.
I know, like my homie Aaron just had to move out like within a month because his like the guy who owned the house, he passed away. So the son
wants to sell it.
He's like, oh well, I got my dad's house. You know, it happens.
Yeah, it's unfortunate though because that's where
fast.
the stress. Yeah, the stress.
Oh, yeah.
came. And then it's a lot of us in the house.
Oh yeah, and you guys are trying to figure it out, and each one of you has to go find a place to live. And
well, let's go a little bit before.
It's like yanking a blanket underneath a fucking table full of dinner. It's like that's a mess.
So let's just go a little bit back.
Okay.
So let's get into more when it's like more frequent. I'm out of high school already, so I'm the party girl now.
Okay. So you're like 19, 20, 21?
I'm 18, 19.
Okay.
All the parties are happening at my house. Everybody would come over. Mm-hmm. I thought I was popular, but I look back, I'm like, I wasn't popular. Like, I was just the girl that threw the house parties.
Hey, so was I. I was popular. Fuck that. No, but when you do throw the parties, people be loving you and shit.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're the person who is providing all this fun.
Yeah.
So I get it. I used to do that for money.
Yeah.
Not at my house, though. Mom, got you.
So now I'm doing Xanax. Yeah.
How did you get introduced to Xanax? Friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a thing for a while in my town.
Okay.
It was like very.
How old are you? Oh, wait. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, she's 26. Never mind.
I'm
She's not.
26.
Okay. Because I'm like, yo, like
Yeah.
I didn't even know what those were until like I was already 21, 22, 23. Who knows? Like somewhere in the club, someone pulled one out and I was like, what the fuck is that? And then I saw my friend on it and I was like, oh, fuck. Never do that again. Like, what a downer.
Yeah, it's a downer.
You know, it's a super downer.
But I'd function with it. So,
Damn.
and I drink with it. So it enhanced it and I loved it.
What's the function with it? Like, is it more like, because you smoke weed, right?
Yeah. So I still remember everything I did. People don't remember what they did or like the end of it or something. I did.
Of Xannies?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know that. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
That's why they kind of say it's a date break drug.
Oh, shit. I see. A bitch.
If you were to take like 2 and then drink, you definitely would not remember.
Whoa, that's crazy. I had no
Yeah.
idea about that. Okay. Never tried that in my life.
So yeah, so I started doing Xanax a lot. At one point I was even selling them.
Yeah.
I used to be Dar with the bars. It was not
Dar.
a good thing.
I was Dar with the bars.
Dar with the bars. Everyone would know. I'm like, oh my
Dars
gosh.
with the bars on deck. Shit. That's what's up.
But I needed it because
we all had to sell stuff back in our
Yes.
days. Shit.
for
I
the
ain't mad at
house,
you.
you know, like we needed to find
I
some way, and I
understand.
felt like nobody was stepping up.
I get it. Sometimes desperate times are desperate measures. Like I used to sell weed, and then I started selling weed for other people, and then but I did try to sell coke at one time, and I couldn't keep up.
Oh yeah, no.
I could not keep up with that. I was like, no, it's so hard to it would make me nervous sometimes. I'd be like, these stupid little baggies aren't really worth my life. And
Yeah.
you know, a lot of men in the game, and I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to weed. But definitely was around it enough to try and sell it for sure. I know desperate times for desperate measures. No one's judging you here, girl.
So I remember that I was super zenning out one day. Mm-hmm. Like I took 3 of them, I want to say, and I was at home, so I felt safe, and I went to sleep in the living room couch, and there's a family friend over, and I just remember waking up on the couch and I was fighting him off of me. And so at that time, I feel like I was raped because I was literally fighting him off of me. Like he was literally holding me down.
Like you woke up with this man in you?
Yes.
Damn.
And I was destroyed. Like I remember like trying to scream, make sure somebody could hear me. Like no one would come. And I'm like, dude, you're 21 years old and you can't even take care of yourself. Like that's
you're telling yourself?
Telling myself, yeah.
Damn.
Like, and I'm like, I blocked it out. It never happened. It never happened.
You couldn't take it. You couldn't handle that.
No, I couldn't.
On top of everything else, you were just like, I need this one to fucking disappear.
And then I was on Xanax, but I was at home.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was safe. Like,
sucks. That's so fucking unfortunate.
I feel like that one is the worst one. Like through all my abuses, I feel like that one was almost the worst because I was fighting.
You were fighting, and as an adult, you were so much more aware of what the fuck is happening to you.
Yeah, definitely.
And that will eat you alive.
Yeah.
It will eat you fucking alive. I know that feeling. And I have plenty of friends. And you guys, this is like just one other story of that. Like, that's from a Zanny.
Yeah.
But like, this happens from alcohol all the fucking time. That's why sometimes I'd be fighting about weed with certain people because I'm like, weed doesn't even do what this does.
No, definitely not.
You know what I mean? I'm a different type of adult now. I've been through all my shit. I have learned most of my lessons, thankfully. So like, I do it totally different now. But I was just thinking about this too. Like, I really have to push this on the show because we're talking about it and it's the moment. I feel like what's happened to us over the years and like what we're trying to change in the world, like this whole Bill Cosby thing, when they said like Bill Cosby was put off, like, you know, he got to get out and whatnot, it just reminded me that like of my own shit. And I kind of felt like, you know what? I have to find a way to talk about this. And now I feel like there's no other way to do it but to tell girls, young girls, or any girls of all any age, we just can't do that. Like nothing's ever going to change it. Like I really have lost like all hope in that sense. It's like just you cannot trust nobody. And it's so sad. I talk about this all the time on the show. I can't just drink with my homies and be the only girl and think that my homies aren't going to try do nothing with me and be like, oh, you were into it last night. Like, yeah. No, like, can't you just be my friend enough to know that I'm blanked out of my mind because we were going wild last night? Like, no, I can't expect that from you. So here's the thing. I'm gonna push this on the show from anytime these fucking moments come up. But like, we have to tell our young girls that they cannot do this no more. Like, you just can't, because you will get put in that spot. And it will be so sad and so unfortunate, and you will hate yourself. I wish somebody would have told me that, honestly.
Yeah, I wish so too. Like now I have three nieces actually, but two are a little bit older. And I tell them, like, you can't trust anybody. Like, people are dirty. Yeah, there's so many dirty people. And like at first I hated that I had to tell them that. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, I hate that. Why do I even have to say that shit?
Yes.
But the more I see people let go for all these bad things, just when I think we're wanting someone up, that I'm like, yes, finally, the women are being heard, and they're not just being accused of fucking wanting money, and they're not just being accused of being a fucking drunk slut, because that's straight to what everybody goes to. It was consensual. It was consensual. Like, the bitch doesn't remember nothing. Like, what are you talking about? That's not you. I can't tell guys not to have sex with drunk girls.
Yeah.
Because you can't. But I can tell girls, especially young girls, and let your fucking kids listen to this real honest shit. Like, just let them. Because this is real life. This is real life. Everything that I thought as a kid, you know, fucking growing up watching 90210, like, That shit, there was no good Brandons around. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. You couldn't even have a fucking good friend. They'd still do that shit to you. Like, I haven't even spoken on all the times I've been through something like that. You guys have heard it once on the show from me because it ended up bad. I ended up getting pregnant. You know, but from now on, I really have to push, and I'm going to push it for as long as I live, that like, we are just not allowed to do that anymore. We can't just get drunk off our asses and black out and expect for people to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So warn your fucking little girls, because I really wish that would have been a big warning. Have my mom or like my nana, and I'm not blaming it on them, because how do you tell a child? You know what I mean? How do you tell a little girl? But I almost feel like, fuck, when I have a little girl, like, if someone touches you, you better fucking tell me. You somebody, you know, if there's any man touching you, is there any woman touching you? I don't care, either or. If they're, you know, like if you go to a party, like, this could happen.
That's the thing that I try to tell my nieces, like, and it makes me feel good that they will tell us when they feel uncomfortable.
Good.
And that's like a big thing, because the
communication is open.
Yes.
So you're like, and after what you've been through, you're like, I need you guys to be open with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I remember when they were born, I said, the girls are never going to go through what I went through. Like, we don't really talk about it, but when it's just me and them, they know. They know.
Yeah.
They just know, like, the other been through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But she is strong and she gets through it.
Yeah. And you know what? That's going to help them. That will help them. They might have to learn their own lessons here and there about certain stuff. And you know what? That could still probably happen. Okay. Because that's life, right?
Yeah, life.
But I do notice, like, our younger generation is totally different. They're totally changing, you know, and if you are real with them, I think you can almost skip they can skip that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Instead of telling them from a, like, listen to me and I'm right, and you know what I mean? Because I feel like I grew up with that, like, people telling me certain things, and like, you don't reciprocate an energy that comes at you a nasty way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you can reciprocate an energy that's like, Mija, I'm looking out for you, I love you, and I never want this to happen, like that open communication, like, you could definitely change someone's life, and they can skip that shit from happening, because that's going to be in their head that this happened to their tia, and they don't want it to happen to them, and they'll know what's up. You know what I mean? Put your girls on game, you know? And so for my guys too, like, I know that's probably a hard thing to talk about with your daughter. I have friends who are single fathers. Like, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard.
But they know too. That's why they get so scared when they have women.
Yeah.
You got to think about what you did to certain girls growing up, and now you have a daughter, and you really don't know till you're like a girl dad. You know, if you don't have sisters and stuff like that, and you're a guy, like, it could be really hard to learn because you don't know that, so you don't really care for it. But it's fucking there. So, you know, open your eyes, know it's there, and talk to your kids. So that's good. You have an open communication with your nieces.
Yeah, definitely. I use this podcast
a lot.
I use your podcast a lot to, like, try to get things to help them. You know, like,
thank you.
I know you were talking about the family matters, and you were saying that a lot of they hide things from the children, and like they want to know
Exactly.
And so that's why I don't hide them, but I know to a certain extent what I can't, like, will destroy them.
Oh, absolutely. There's knowing and this and that, but the warning and the explaining your own, you know, your own stuff. Like, I have the same thing going on. I protect my brothers and sisters, like, they're protected. They are protected from certain things that happen to me, because I just will, they're not gonna know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the things that they do know is what they do know. But even me saying, like, to have that open communication or whatever, I had to, like, learn that, and I'm still fucking learning. So there are some things I never really got to them for them being younger, but I'm just learning so much now that, like, my best advice is to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I wish, when I was younger, that I had my mind like this. I think different people come into your life and make you open to shit too, though. You know, I was really blocked off for a very long time. And I think I've been super crazy open, probably just since the podcast. Like, I've always been like, I can express myself, but like to a crazy extent, it's probably only been like a year.
Yeah.
You know?
I first heard your first episode with my sister, which was the one she was listening. It was during quarantine, and it was the one where you were talking about your abortion and stuff like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, who is this? Like, I need to listen to it. This is some real ass shit.
Yeah.
And that's who she told me that it was you, and that's how I started to follow you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, that's what this one will do. You know, that's what this one will do. Because just these conversations, period, just for someone to admit their story. You don't know who's going to come on here and be like, you don't know who's going to like hear this and then come be like, I want to come on here because I just like, I have some other shit. Like you have gone through all these things and you became an addict. You said for 4 years.
Yeah.
And like some of those people were for longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I have a friend who only stops like, and she's probably gonna listen to this. I have a friend who only stops when she's pregnant, and I know her family. Like, you know, we all grew up together and things like that. And I had her on the podcast, but unfortunately, she just wasn't ready to let that one out. And she doesn't realize like, and you don't realize it either, that like people really care about you. People really care about you. You might not think it. Maybe you don't even feel it. But do you talk to people?
I do.
You have people in your life, right?
Yeah, I do.
They would not be happy if something were to happen to you.
That one person, when we get there, I'll say more description, but is my sister.
Yeah, you bring up your sister a lot.
Yeah, a lot. She lives with me.
Yeah.
And she helped me stop.
Is she your younger sister?
I know. She's like 2 years older than me.
Oh, 2 years older than you. Okay. Your big sister.
Yeah, my big sister.
Big sisters are the best.
Yeah, they are. So now we're at when this incident happened and I blocked it off. And so I'm going through the days and I'm just getting lit on crystal meth.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting until one day we got into an argument and they're like, why are you like this, Darlene? Like, our life is not even that bad. Like, it's bad, but not, people have it worse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys don't even know what I've been through.
Yeah.
And at that time, the relative, when I was 8 years old, went to Mexico. Mm-hmm. And they're older, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought that he went to Mexico because he was going to die over there.
Okay.
So because he was there for a while. And then the fight happened and he was over there. And that's when I'm like, you guys don't even know what I've been through. And that's when I told them.
Because he was away.
Yes, he was away. So that's when I said about the relative. And I said
you told them. You said it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's those like a breaking moment.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because it's like you do fucking have to get to this level. Like I know, like I've gotten there where I think I mentioned it. My brothers and sisters used to look at me a certain way, and they never knew what I was going through.
Yeah, they never did. They just thought
understand.
I was like the party animal.
Yeah.
Like
selfish party animal. You know, you want nothing to do with the family. You're the fuck up. You're the fuck up. You're the one who comes home all drunk. Yes. Like you're the one who, you know, like you are just you're being just a bad apple, but you don't know what happened in the root. And my
sisters, like, they don't drink, they don't smoke, they didn't really party at all. And they're older than me, right? So they're like not like me at all.
Okay.
So that's
That's when you start. Yeah. That's when you start to claim that you are the black sheep of the family.
I am.
But that is also where the self-victimizing comes from, because you feel everything that you've been through and you feel all these things that you're just, this separates me from all of you. You guys aren't like me. You guys aren't as bad. You guys haven't gone through what I've gone through. You guys never seen the lowest of the low. You know what I mean? And that's when you start to separate yourself, to say some shit like that, to be like, I'm just different because I'm just different. But like, no, it's just you're different because you just have a different trauma that like.
And I remember, like, so much times before I exposed it to the family, I would come home from school, well, ditching because I never went.
Yeah.
And I'd come home. There's a park, like, I want to say like 2 blocks away. And I'd sit there and I would cry for hours. I'd sit in this bench and cry and cry and cry. And then I'll look up to where I'm at, and it's a pretty nice area. So I'd be like, appreciate that you live here, because you can live in South Central, or you can live in Compton where it's worse, or places where it's worse.
Yeah.
Like, appreciate that you're here. And that would make me help me. But the next day, I'd be there again, and I'd be crying.
It's hard to stay in gratitude.
Yeah. But they never knew that. That's when I was like 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. I'd go to the park and I just cry. Nobody really knew that. I guess now they do, but no, I do it a lot frequently. And when I go by those places now, I could see myself sitting there, and I think, wow, I came a long way.
Be proud of yourself, girl.
Yeah.
Be proud of yourself. That's like that's another reflecting moment where you can fucking look back to say for yourself, because nobody could really fucking tell you. I can't tell you like, girl, I'm so proud of you, came so far. I have not even one clue because I was not there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could tell me your whole fucking story, but that story is split up in how much time. Like, every day of your life is fucking a lot of time. Like, that's why they say time is more valuable, because you cannot get it back.
Yeah. I remember sometimes coming back to you and they're like, oh, Dar, where'd you go? I'm like, oh, no, we're just for a walk. I'm good. You're good? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I would always just say I'm good. Nobody knew. Nobody knew until then, when I told everybody, and I was older already. Yeah. So some people believed me and some people didn't. Mm-hmm. But that didn't matter to me. At this point, it didn't people matter. Who denied it, you're just like, it doesn't matter, because you know what happened to you. I know what happened, and I know the truth. I know that feeling, and you know what? Even though you know it, that's still a fucking bad feeling. Yeah. When you tell somebody something and they don't listen to you, that could change your whole fucking world. Well, they didn't believe me because now I'm on drugs every day, crystal meth. So, but still, I remember a relative looking at me and they just said, "Fucking drugs," and laughed. I didn't care. Fuck. But at that time, that's rough. I lost it. I went crazy. Like, I just remember being so mad, talking shit. Like, I was so hurt by that. Dude, it's being belittled. Yeah. It's being fucking belittled. Like, and that's probably the worst part about doing drugs there. Like, when you become an addict, because now who the fuck is going to believe you? Yeah. It's even worse on top of like what you're saying, but it's like, yeah, like you can't, people say it all the time, like you can't trust a drug addict. You can't, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, there's a space. I'm going to hold certain space for you until you fuck it up. And that's why, honestly, it's like, people know my story here and there. They don't really know details, but sometimes, like at work or something like that, like I don't say it, I don't bring it up much, because people judge you by your addiction. Oh yeah, 100. And they look at you completely different after you told them. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure. Drugs put like on, it's whether you've been molested, raped, or you are the molester, like it's a stamp. It's a scar, like it's on you, and like you can't take it off. Yeah. And people have like, see me, I come from a place where like I know these stories, you know what I mean? And then I know my own. And then, I've always been opening and understanding. Like, I know all kinds of people, and I've always tried to be like cool with everyone. Even if you're on drugs, there's like, you're still, to me, and I'm like, you're still God's people in my eyes and in my heart. Like, you're still God's people, you know what I mean? But some people who have no idea about that stuff, who never been lost in the sauce, who don't have family like that, who don't have friends who did that shit, who grew up completely separated from that type of stuff, they just don't fucking know. And all they see is what they saw on TV. Yeah. All they do is see if they were warned about it, like,
you know, they got that warning, so they think they know, like, but they don't know. You know what I mean? I hope that you take with you that with people like that, like, they just don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I met a lot of people through that drug, and they were all just hurting, including myself. Everyone, literally everybody's story on how they started doing drugs was hurting. Either their parent passed away, or they have nobody, or they're on the street.
This drug, whatever drug it is, help them get away from that thing. It helped them not think about it. It helped them, like, for me, like, for a long time, you know, yeah, I drink and stuff, but, like, for a long time I was drinking because I was hurting, and I was drinking because this was the only time I could actually feel those things, where, you know, where I could be okay with it.
Yeah.
Where it's not fucking on my shoulders like a fucking hawk, and I feel like everyone's looking at it. It's more like, oh, we can get along, like we're drinking together now. Like, I could get to be this person instead of the person who's inside, who's hiding so many secrets. And I even did that, like, with weed. You know, the only difference is that weed is such a different drug. You know, it's just so different, which is why, like, I'll keep pushing it till forever. It's just because it does make you more peaceful, and it does make you more mindful.
It does.
And even though it does, yeah, you'll have your burnouts. You're gonna have people who abuse the drug in a way that prevents them from doing much, and I totally get that. But damn, it calmed me down. It saved my life. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, no, but you're addicted, and I'm like, I get what you're saying, but what this does compared to what these things do, like,
It doesn't compare.
it just does not even compare. No. Like, it brings peace to my life. Times that I've wanted, like, and I fucking calmed down a whole grip. Shit, I'm proud of myself how far I came. Cause, I mean, I should be in jail, like, at times. You know what I mean? Like, I really feel like if I never was introduced to weed, either I probably would have went to jail at some point, or I probably wouldn't be here because I didn't want to be here at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things that you're talking about, you know, people not listening to you, people denying your truth, just feeling that alone in itself. When someone denies you of your truth, you almost feel like, well, what I say doesn't matter. So if what I say doesn't matter, why the fuck am I here?
Yeah.
Like, what am I here for?
But the person that helped me a lot was my sister, because she sat with me. I remember I love to cook, so I made chilaquiles. I remember.
I know, bitch. I saw your fucking birria the other day.
I love
pissed. I need to learn.
So I remember cooking, and I just told her, and she cried with me, and she said, "I'm so sorry that this happened to you."
Yeah.
And to this day, she's
that
like,
helps.
Yeah,
so much.
It meant so much. Like, everything everybody
you
had
felt
to
love.
say didn't matter.
You felt love.
Yeah,
that was your moment.
Her love is all I needed.
Right, and all these things that have added up have made you feel less and less and less of love. You're even to the point of your friends leaving you because you're a bully.
Yeah.
Even throw that all fucking in the bag, because all that shit was making you feel like you are just not worthy of love.
Yeah.
Thank God for your sister.
Yeah, I love her.
She pulled through, because sometimes it only takes one person.
She's honestly the reason why I stopped.
Yeah.
So my sister, she's probably going to get mad. Sorry, Cynthia. But
shout out to Cynthia, my girl. Thanks for putting her on.
She was born with 2 holes of the size of a quarter in her heart.
Okay. A heart murmur?
It's called, it's so weird to say, Titania Fallot or something like that.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
No, so that's what happened.
Mom, Pastor Penny, she's Grey's Anatomy ER professional. She'll know what that is.
So she had to get surgery when she was born.
Oh, okay.
And then open heart surgery.
Oh, shit.
Newborn.
Yeah. Damn.
And then again, I want to say like in 2014, 15, she had to get another open heart surgery.
Oh, no.
And
that's like crucial.
Yeah, this one was pretty. Yeah, I remember.
It's like life or death.
Yeah. And I remember I wasn't doing drugs at the time. I was like still good. And that kind of really scared me. My sister,
to lose her.
Yes. So they had to open up her whole chest and stuff because there was not enough room in her heart for them to do this new procedure that they have going on.
Okay.
I remember this is why I like UCLA, because it was in the actual UCLA.
Boo. All right, go.
Know. Okay, I like the school. I always have to refresh that.
But I have to do that because it's just in me. Go ahead.
But they really helped her over there at UCLA. Yeah. And
fine.
So I remember last year in quarantine, she had to do another surgery. Because she had a leaking valve. So they put a pig's valve in her heart because that's the closest thing to a human heart.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But it has to get replaced every 10 years because the pigs don't last as long as humans.
Oh my God.
So, but this one, she's been having it for I think 3 to 4 years. And it was leaking. So she had to get it replaced and she had to go by herself because it was quarantine.
Ugh.
And that
fucking worst time to go there.
Killed me because I'm like, dude. And then we can get back to this later. But so I thought to myself, my sister's going through this. Why are you still relapsing? Because now at this time last year, I wasn't doing it hardcore every day. Now I'm trying to get off. But I had my relapses here and there.
Yeah. For sure.
So I'm like, you're still not sober. Yeah, you go a month, 2 or 3, but that you're not sober.
You still go back to it.
Yeah, that doesn't. You got to start all over again. You count your days all over. I had a calendar, and when I'd slip up, I'd write it.
Oh, that's good. Shit, you were starting to keep yourself accountable.
Yeah, but I'd get so mad at myself because
when you fuck up.
Yeah,
and I've heard that. Okay, I've heard that
you
part
start
too.
From zero all over again. Your days are zero.
Yeah.
So I remember I spoke to God and I said, God, if you let my sister come out of this surgery good, I will stop. Because my sister, no matter what I've been through, she never gave up on me. She would get so mad at me.
Yeah. And you disappoint her.
Yeah.
But
she
loves you.
She loved me. She never walked away. And I told God that. And she came out good and I never touched it again.
Damn, that's crazy.
That's why I always say, my sister means so much to me because even through that, I stopped because of her.
Yeah.
And I remember, a couple months ago, it was the anniversary. And I told her, this is the day I actually stopped because of you. And it was I needed to tell her that. She probably already knew, but I needed to tell her that because... my sister means so much to me.
Yeah. And I think you waited so long to tell her, just honestly giving yourself what if I fuck up?
Mm-hmm. And
you didn't believe yourself until you told her.
Yeah. And she's like, honestly, Darlene, you don't give yourself enough recognition. And I'm like, because I feel like I should have never put myself in that position in the first place. But she told me you did. You did and you overcame it. And
she makes you feel strong.
Yeah, she does.
And she reminded you.
Yeah.
Because you know what? How you grew up, you were strong all along. You survived how many of those molestations? You survived a rape. People I don't think we ever, no one does this for her. You don't get fucking gold stars for these things.
No.
And like I said, you fucking get scars forever. But when you can survive it, when you can pull your shit together and you can live a different life, a better one, that's a whole fucking year of working out. If you could work out, it's just so much work. It's so much work. And I think it goes unseen because you have to live every day for what the fuck pops up. It's present moment.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it. But when you start actually giving yourself credit, that's when it really fucking hits. Because somebody can tell you something. But if you don't find it in yourself, it's almost like you're lost. My friend Crystal Jo, she had me write a letter to myself during the pandemic. And this shit broke me. But I'm gonna tell you to try it.
I actually heard you speak about this in the podcast.
Yeah, I have.
And I'm like, I need to do that.
It's been a long time, but I will remind people about this.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that I do need to do.
Yeah.
I do. Like,
You have to start off.
Yeah.
And write to yourself a love letter. And now I'm just going to put it out there. And I want you guys to do this. You guys fucking have homework this week. Okay, Mom, see, you thought I was never going to be a teacher. Homework's fucking due next week. Get on this, ladies. Or gentlemen. Because you know what? A lot of you fools are walking around doing stupid shit. Because you don't even know how to even begin. Nobody even talks to you about these things. Because they're too busy telling you just to be a man. Don't fucking worry about it. And you're fucking tougher than this and you're tougher than that. But I bet you've been through shit too. I bet some of you been molested. And like you guys just don't speak about it because it's on some fucking guy term or whatever. But if you are open enough, step up to the fucking plate and do this homework. Write yourself a love letter. And start off with, my beloved, your name. Okay? And believe it or not, I did this fucking thing, and she knows because she heard the podcast, and some of you know if you heard the podcast, but let me tell you, for those of you that are new to this shit, I did that shit, and first of all, I kept being like, okay, I'll write it later. I kept trying to brush it off. She was like, no, you need to do it right now, blah, blah. She fucking made me accountable to do something. I told her I'll do it. And I wanted her to get off my fucking case, so I'm like, yo, I'll do it, and I'll even fucking read it. Like, I'll read it on my live. She didn't believe me, so I had to go to the extreme. We're dramatic. And I fucked up by saying that because I am a woman of my word and I will do whatever the fuck I say. And I had to do it. But let me tell you, behind the scenes, even on the scenes, because in that live you will see me, I break down. But like the moment I wrote, dear my beloved Sammy Jo, like right now I could say that. Dear my beloved Sammy Jo, I could not fucking write that on the paper for shit. As soon as I fucking started writing it, I broke. Like, who was this person being so nice to themselves? Who was this person like you don't even realize how much love you don't show yourself to not be able to do something like that. Yeah. So deny all you want, but I'm going to tell you this. Write yourself a love letter. Just for yourself. You ain't got to fucking show it to me. You can if you want. If you want to share your shit with me, I would love to hear it. I would love to read it. I would love to be a part of your breakthrough. But if not, just do this in fucking your own shit. Just do this in your own and just write to yourself. You ain't got to share it with nobody. That letter is for you. And it's a fucking reminder that you mean something, you exist, and you have to, and you need to mean more to yourself. Because that's where that shit put me. I was like, oh my God, like, I was writing constantly, like, I'm sorry. Like, what the fuck? Like, where did this come from?
Yeah. I've had a few journals that I used to write with in back. And so when I look at them now, I'm like, damn.
Did people put you up on journals?
No.
No? Because my mom used to tell, like, homegirls would go through, like, a bad relationship. And my mom would always talk to those girls because she went through a bad relationship in high school. And that would be one of her things that she'd say, like, get a journal and write all these things down. Write what happened. Write what hurt you. Write what, you know?
I was always trying to find ways to heal myself. And, like, I'd go online, like, how to deal with this, how to deal with that, and, like, stuff like that. Or, like, then I just started writing, like, okay, when you feel like this, write. And I look back and I'm like, damn, that was a lot of pain that I was in.
Yeah.
Like, when I think about it now, how much I overcame, it almost makes me want to cry because, like, it's a weird feeling, not cry of sadness, but like happiness and like, wow, Dar, you did it.
There's relief.
Yeah.
There is relief in knowing that you have just, that you're come so far. There's some relief in it. Like, I'm finding my life change constantly. Like, people now are calling me bougie. Like, your girl came the fuck up if you're calling me bougie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm almost like privileged just like for them to say it. When I remember, like, I was dating someone like maybe last March, like whatever, 2019 March. I remember she said like, oh, like, you're like a fucking princess. She said something like that. And I was just like, Like I had never been called that. Like I act like a princess, and I was like, good bitch, fuck,
Yeah.
good. You know how long I'm fucking in my 30s. I didn't. Some of you have been born like this. That your dads were like, you are the queen, you are the princess. Mom's the queen, you're the princess. We're gonna go into the store. You're gonna get everything you want. We're gonna get your princess crown, and your birthdays. You're wearing your queen, princess, bullshit, whatever. Your girl didn't get called this till she was in her 30s. I was proud as fuck in that moment. Like, good. Because you know what? I grew up without no standards. Like, I've come so far. So I was like, fucking good. Call me a princess. Call me bougie. Because that means I am pushing myself to get out of that place that I ran from. You know, that's why they say it's not where you come from. It's where you're going.
Yeah.
But we can get so caught up in where we're from. It's part of growing up.
Yeah, definitely.
You're a little kid on the town. You feel like you ain't got somebody really on your back, totally, taking care of you 24/7. Like, you start to find this independent person who deals with shit on their own, and you just keep going, and you start having to learn your own shit. Just, you didn't speak anything about a father.
I know. You bringing up the father, I just remembered. So, my dad left my mom when we were little. Well, actually, my mom left my dad when we were really little because she was getting abused by him.
Okay.
And I don't remember really much because I was really young, but I remember there's always a story that comes up that my sister told my mom, "Let's go, let's leave," and we never came back.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's strong.
Yeah. And so there was a show on MTV that was like, If You Really Knew Me. I don't know if you watched that, but
No, probably didn't have cable at this time.
no.
Go ahead.
It was like I was already like 8th grade.
Okay.
I was turning 15 and I would watch it a lot. And they would go to high schools and they would say this. If you really knew me, they would start off like that and they'd say like, you know that my dad's battling cancer or like stuff. Like they'll tell the
behind the scenes of what's really happening of kids in school. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
that's a good idea.
Yeah, it was a good show. So then it made me think of my dad a lot. And I was like, dude, do you not care if like that I have a birthday coming up? Like, do you even know my birthday? Like I can never come home and be like, oh, dad, here, or like stuff like that. So like my mom never didn't want us to see him. She always told us like so I live in San Pedro. Above San Pedro is Palos Verdes.
Okay. Yeah.
So he worked at the PV Mall. Mm-hmm. So I remember like I wanted to tell him this. I didn't want to tell him like, oh, dad, I miss you. I want a relationship with you. Like, no, I didn't want that. Yeah. I just wanted to tell him this. And I remember the whole way I told my older sister, because I have two now. So I told my older sister and I told her everything the whole way there. Because when we got there, I knew I wasn't going to be able to say. So when we got there, she was telling him everything. And then he pretty much said, why are you guys here? I know I have another family and you guys are putting that in jeopardy. That's all I had to know. And then he wanted a hug. So I said, no, let's go. And so I left. And I remember crying. And my mom was in the car and she's like, I'm sorry. Like, you wanted to come up here. I told you guys how he was. Like, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Yeah.
And she did it because she didn't want you guys to feel that.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate too. All 5 kids are from him?
No, just 3.
Okay. Oh, just 3. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, still, it's a lot. Yeah, that's fucked up, and that's super relatable to a lot of people, you know?
To me, it was like, dude, you literally told me that in my face.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, see, my mom kept me from, my mom kept me from my dad, but, I think long run it was good because I probably would have ended up even crazier. But not having your father as a young woman or man, I should say, it does leave a very worthless feeling in you because you feel just like, I'm not even good enough to have both parents. Like, I'm not even good enough that my dad wants to be in my life. I'm not good enough because my dad doesn't call me on my birthdays, you know? Father's Day is the worst. You just feel
I hate
like
Father's Day.
I know. I've always been such a bitch on Father's Day, and this past one I was actually you know what? From all the healing that I have done since we started the fucking show, just becoming more Cynthia more and more because I'm finally letting things out. Yeah, this past Father's Day, I didn't even have it in me to cap on a bunch of fathers.
Yeah.
I'll be back fucking next year. Don't trip. This year I was a little deep into my feelings, but I'm 33. Like, my dad hasn't been around my whole life. So, like, you would think it just doesn't really affect you. But you know what it does? It not only affects you, like, it just affects you long term. Because I don't know about you, but all the bad things that happen to me with men pop up when I think of my dad not being there.
Well, I've been so hurt by men, so that I feel like I just wanted, like, it's not really the attention that you want, but you just want it, you know?
No, I'm telling you, I really think it's like there's chemical things to that. You know what I mean, too? Because in your head, you're born with two. And you do have that, like, I belong to this person and that person. And as a woman, you know, and I can't speak from a man's perspective of when he doesn't have a father. But from a woman's perspective, I could say that, dang, it like, think about when a guy doesn't want you. Okay, a guy doesn't want you. It's, you know, that could really hurt your feelings.
Yeah, it really hurt.
You know what I mean? If you have a crush on someone and they don't like you back, but this is your father, someone that had you. You know what I mean? And just there is something there that just makes you feel not good enough, and it can definitely add on to all the things you put yourself through because you don't feel worth it. You know, like, you just don't. Like, I did so many things where it's just because, and I knew like certain things were in the back of my mind about it. And with men, like, I've had guys in my life just as friends who, like, they've stepped into my life like a big brother or something. And then they have left me hanging. And I would be so hurt. Like, I had bitches come and go in my life, like girlfriends. But when my guy friends, you know, like my friend Tat, if you guys heard that episode, you guys know me and Tat don't really talk anymore. And I lost a friend in that. Whether he was good or not, the good friend or bad friend, doesn't matter. Like, I lost someone that I kind of see like that, who he was a man in my life, and I made him very important. And I don't like to make a lot of men in my life important, because when they hurt me, I think my daddy issues step up, and they're like, it hurts even more.
Yeah, it hurts bad. I could totally relate to that. Well, on my end, I'm very, very thankful that my uncle stepped up, which is my mom's brother.
Same. My Uncle Jay.
Yes.
Uncle Jason.
My Uncle Joe. So, yeah, he really stepped up because I remember, like, my mom was struggling, and my uncle would hustle just to get us shoes when we were little.
Wow.
And when, like, before, when my dad would try to take us and, like, away from my mom or something, like, my uncle would always be there.
Yeah.
Like, he always
The
stepped
protector.
up. Mm-hmm.
So you felt some type of, like, man stepping up, and that made you feel valued.
Yeah, my uncle really helped me with the man stuff. Like, now in my family, I say, like, I'm the man of my family. Like, I know how to change a tire.
Oh, girl,
I know how to do.
You a bigger man than me.
I be putting shit up.
I'm gonna call you though.
I be getting the drill gun. Like,
that's what's up. Hell yeah.
So it's like that has to do with a lot with my uncle, because he's like, he grew up from the gangs, so he's really hard. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a hard ass. So kind of like, but he raised me, and I really am thankful for him of that.
Shout out to the uncles, the brothers, to any of the guys, even some of the stepdads who actually step up and really be a man in someone's life when they don't have one, because you do not know how big of an impact that you make. It's like, for anyone who goes without anything, like, the first time, like, I got a car, I fucking hugged it. Like, I didn't have a car till I was 26. So, of course, I appreciate the fuck out of it. You know what I mean? So, like, not having a father my whole life, as soon as, like, I saw that my uncle Jason was making, like, certain moves with me, like, he's only 3 or 4 years older than me. I think he's only 3 years older than me. So, I was like, my heart It was just like this, like he don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Like this was his
Exactly.
brother's fucking plan. Like this was his brother's, mistake. And my uncle Jason is out here doing what he can for me
Yeah.
because he stepped up. You know what I mean? And so when you don't have it, you appreciate it so much. So every Father's Day, I used to always take my Uncle Jason out to eat. I'd be like, this is how I would make up that day. I'm going to talk shit about my dad online, but I'm going to take my Uncle Jason to eat, and I'm going to make sure he eats like a fucking king because he stepped up for me, and he probably don't even think it's like that big of a deal. He's probably like, you're my niece. Like, if you need food, I'm gonna feed you. If you need a ride, I will take you,
Yeah.
But like for us, it is just
A huge deal.
It's huge. It's a huge deal. So we just showing our appreciation right now because that's love. And your girls who grow up with daddy issues feel less love. Automatic. There's no girl who can tell me different. If you grew up without your father, there is definitely a void that sometimes never gets fulfilled.
Yeah. Definitely.
So we talked about everything that that has happened to you. We talked about how you got into the drugs. We talked about now how you were able to get out. When was that day that when did you celebrate a year?
In May.
In May, this past May?
Yes, this past May. May 16th.
Can we say that you're still on the right path?
I am.
Excellent.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. We are proud of you. No, serious though. We are. And it does deserve applause, and it deserves a lot more than that. And I hope that this is what the podcast does for you because it's going to help people. And I'm excited. Like I'm excited, one, that you were willing to share your story with me. But I'm excited because I do get people who write to me about what goes on into their lives, and being an addict is one of them. And people are so scared to like talk about it, but you came up here and you fucking did it like a boss. And I know that took a lot out of you.
Yes.
Is there anything that you want to, if you could give some type of advice to someone who is, I wouldn't say like deep in it because you probably can't really reach that, but someone who's dipping in and out and thinking of like, damn, like I need to quit soon. Like what, when you were going through that process, like, is there anything that you can say that you think could help someone?
Well, honestly, like when you're coming off and going on it, you think like, oh, I already messed up. I have to count my days over. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Like every day, just try again. That was my one thing.
Every day, just try again.
Yeah, you got to keep trying. It doesn't matter how hard
so
it gets.
fuck up. You fucked up once. Okay, try it tomorrow.
Yes.
And just fucking keep trying it that next day.
And push through the come down, because 3 to 4 years doing it, I was tired. Tired because I need sleep.
Yeah.
And
you're
then
probably
I was
tired and fucking hungry.
and moody.
Ooh.
So
Yikes.
So I was reached at a weight that I was happy, because I never thought like, oh, I'm losing weight. Yes. Like, no, I never thought that. But I looked at myself and I'm like, whoa. So now when I'm sober, even right now, like I feel discouraged because I gained like 80 pounds.
Okay.
And that's a lot of weight.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight. But you gained 80 pounds from after using drugs for like 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, shit. You said it yourself. You're fucking tired. You know what I mean? You don't really eat much when you're on drugs.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I think you should allow yourself to understand that those 80 pounds are days that you told that drug no.
Yeah.
And you need to replace like how you're feeling about it with what, like, you need to replace that thought. Like, you know what? Yeah, I gained weight, but I'm not on drugs anymore.
Yeah, that's
and
what
this
I
is
try to do now.
way fucking more important.
I tell myself like, okay, you need to lose the weight the right way now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can
no
do that.
cheats.
Right. But like, if you are still giving yourself time, if you're, hey, I'm not here, I can't even tell you like, oh, okay, you're completely clean now. I just asked if you're clean to this moment. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know when you have your moments of like, dang, well, I want to. You know what I mean? I don't know when you have those moments, but I will say if you are thinking about your weight, because I know what that fucking feels like. I'm thinking about my weight now, you know what I mean? And I expressed that in my show yesterday. You just have to tell yourself like, you know what? This I can do. What I did with this, I can do it this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those are great 80 pounds. You know what I mean? For me, I have to do it with like, you know what? I probably was, what am I? I am like 30 pounds over what I like to be right now. Maybe, I think 30 pounds. 25, 30, something like that. Anyway, I'm like, I don't feel too crazy because I know that before when I was constantly like losing weight, like it was just from all the pressure, from what I have to look like for people, like to do these things, to talk to celebrities, to feel comfortable in certain things. When I let that go right now where I'm at, I'm like, you guys understand that shit's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's fucking a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? And I tell myself, but look at all the success I've had gaining that weight. I stopped worrying about what I was looking like, and I started to just put work in my lap.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to start my cooking channel.
Okay.
So I just started a page.
Get it, girl. What's a cooking page, girl?
It's called Cocina de Flores.
Orale.
Because my
Fucking
last
hungry.
name is Flores. So yeah, I didn't realize a lot of women don't really know how to cook. They don't really know how to cook.
The men are listening to this let's rewind this part. I want my wife to hear it. You bitches can't cook.
And I learned that at a very young age. So
really?
Yeah. So I can show people how to cook.
Yeah.
And that's what I love to do. I remember when I was young, I wanted to open up a restaurant, but then I lost that.
You lost sight of that.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get there again. So slow steps, baby steps.
Baby
start
steps,
with
girl.
Page.
Baby steps. You just came from recovering. You know what I mean? And you're still recovering because this is still a process, and you still need more time. But I think adding work to your plate, adding goals for your life. You know what I mean? You want to start a cooking show. Like, I think goals are a perfect way to get you out of something. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a perfect way to block all those bad things out, to say like, hey, if I want to get to this place, I got to leave this shit alone. Yeah. And I have to constantly be working on this place. That's why my life is full of fucking work now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I prefer it that way. I prefer it that way.
I honestly work a lot at my regular job too.
Okay.
So that's why like people listening to this podcast that's had an addiction before, I always try to say like, your past does not define you. Your past will never define you, and failures are a part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn, and if you don't learn, you don't change. So I worked at SpaceX before.
Oh shit.
And I was like hardcore every day on drugs for 3 to 4 years.
Whoa.
Like, and then I lived, it's my neighborhood. So I call it my neighborhood, you know? And I used to hang around with the cholos, like the bad cholos. So I'm like, we don't make it out. Like, you weren't supposed to. Like, you did all this stuff. Like, you beat the odds. We didn't talk about this either, but I also went through 5 years of mental and physical abuse in my relationship.
Oh shit. Yeah. Is this while you were on drugs?
Yes and no.
Okay, so half and half.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that'll put fucking damage on you.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah, drugs or no drugs, that puts some fucking, it make you feel like you are on drugs.
Yeah. And it was hard. It was hard to leave because you think like, this person knows he was there when I was telling everybody. He was there seeing me cry when I found out. He was there through a lot of stuff. Yeah. And it was hard for me to let go.
Yeah, he was there for a very important part of your seasons.
Mm-hmm. And I remember like some of my gangster friends, they really gave me good advice sometimes.
Oh yeah, like, the gangster homies, shit. Especially if they get put away because. Yeah. Believe it or not, people be learning a lot of shit in jail. Yeah. To sit there in your fucking thoughts, or to sit there with a new mate that like fucking puts you up on game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's true. I don't put no labels on any of my gangster homies or any gangsters that are out there, because they are fucking smart. Yeah, shit, they're businessmen too. So, you know, they just don't. Some people just get so caught up in they get lost in the sauce, as I like to say. They get caught up in their environment. They don't realize what you do in your environment, you can do in a better place.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like the people selling drugs. You could sell bigger things than that. You could sell legal things. You know what I mean? Like you already have one up.
Yeah.
You know how business works. You know what I mean? So I never put no fucking labels on the homies. You can learn a lot in the hood.
Yes,
100 that you don't learn out there in fucking IE. I fucking said it. No, but for real, it's like meeting people from like Riverside or Corona. Like I've been through things where I'm like, oh my god, like you guys don't even know how to talk to fucking cops. Like it's crazy. Where I'm like, what did anybody teach you anything or what's going on? But I'm like, oh wait a minute, like we are just from two different places.
Yes, exactly.
And your hood could teach you a whole lot of fucking common sense. Let me tell you.
Yes. There's one thing that I always I remember with, because I would always go, like, they'd talk to me, my big homies, and they'd be like, Darlene, you've been through so much things in your life that other people would have been folded. People would have been down. But you're strong, and don't be the statistics, because they used to be like, what the hell are you doing with this guy?
Yeah.
Don't be the statistics of you being a weak girl.
Hey, real homies will fucking tell you that. Don't be for real. For real.
Like,
they're either people who hold that shit against you, not your homies, nobody that loves you, period. But people that fucking tell you that shit, like that's love. That's tough love.
Yeah.
That's telling you like, girl, I'm telling you the fucking truth. Like, don't be stupid. We do this out here.
Yeah. I had to learn from them, and I would tell myself that, like, you're being the statistics, like, don't do it. And so, like, other situations would happen. So what happened was I got hit by a car. So what had happened was I just got my job at SpaceX a week. I did a week of training, not being on the floor, just computer work. So I remember that Sunday I had a wash, and it was Father's Day.
Boo.
It was...
All right. There we go.
Yes. And so I remember crossing the street because I had to go get coins from the laundromat to wash in my apartment. And I just remember a whole bunch of people around me, and I just gave them my sister's number. I told them to tell her to sit down because she has a heart problem.
Oh, okay.
And then I just remember waking up in the hospital. But my sisters ended up getting the surveillance camera video from outside the shop. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Car crash, right?
I got ran over.
Like you got hit by a car?
Yeah. I was crossing the street on a...
Were you on one or you were just crossing the street?
No, I was crossing the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was just out of nowhere.
Yeah. She was on... So it ended up being that she was on her phone and she was on one.
Oh, shit. Have you ever seen that shit? When people are on one driving?
Yes.
That shit scares the fuck out of me.
And especially on the phone.
That shit scares the fuck out of me.
It was
like
the
when
worst.
I see people just doing shit like just totally fucking off the rail in their car, and I'm like, oh shit, this person's driving.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Ugh, that's horrible.
Yeah, but
how weird is that you got hit by someone who was on one though?
And then everyone's like, you should sue. Well, she has her whole family's from the neighborhood, and my family is not from the neighborhood. Like my uncle was from a gang, but a different town, which something happened, so we had to move.
Okay.
So in my neighborhood, it's like family and family and family that live there, and that from the same hood and family. So I'm like, there'd be no one to back us up.
Oh.
So I didn't sue. At the end of the day,
You didn't want no problems.
Yes. And I told myself, in the end of the day, I got the greatest gift, and that's being alive.
Amen.
And I had a collapsed lung and a fractured rib, and both of those injuries healed on its own.
Is this during your recovery or before it?
No, neither. I had just got my SpaceX job.
But you were still taking drugs at
Yes,
this time.
I was.
You weren't on drugs when this happened.
No.
But around this time, okay, so you had an awakening from a car
Yes.
crash. Did that change your brain around a little bit to what you're doing, or you just kept going? Well, you did keep going because you didn't stop till your sister.
Yes, I kept going. But it made me wake up for a few days because I was like,
Oh, I see.
wow, God gave you another opportunity. Like, take advantage, like all this stuff. But when I went back to work, I let them influence me, which that was my fuck up. But I let them influence me because they were so mean. This is my first time at a big, so I don't have my family that has careers. We don't have careers.
Yeah, I feel you.
I mean? So
Fucking like, careers.
You don't you can't go to your family for a career advice, like stuff like that, because they don't really understand or know. So they would say, I'm a witch. They literally would say, I'm a witch. And they're like, she even got hit by a car and she survived. How crazy is that?
Wait, your family would say that?
No, the people that I worked with at SpaceX.
Oh, fucking weird. Were they white?
Yes, but it was like high school all over again. I swear, they were so mean to me. Like, it was the worst thing. Like, I was like good looking, I was skinny, and I would wear a lot of makeup. Mm-hmm. And I think that everybody would be looking at me because I look cute, but no, everyone was calling me a witch, and I did not know. And then till nobody wanted to work with me anymore, or people would tell me how to do shit wrong, or like, they're setting me up for failure. And I'm getting upset because I'm like, dude, I need this job to help my family.
Yeah. Because
we skipped a part of my life for how I got into this field. Mm-hmm. So have a month left in I call it the Beacon because that's the street it's on.
Okay.
So we have like a month left, and we got into this big fight, me and my whole family, and they all left, and I stayed.
Okay.
And now I'm getting high really bad every single day, crying every single day because I have to take everybody's stuff out. And that's my childhood home. And then I don't know where I'm going to go.
Fuck. That's a big mess.
Yeah.
That's a lot of feelings.
It's a lot. And then plus some family members didn't believe me. Other families saying that I'm on drugs, and that's why I'm saying this. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, you were fucking on drugs.
I was.
That's, they were just calling the kettle black. Like, it's unfortunate, but like those are the rough moments that you will have to face if you're fucking doing it.
Up. Yeah,
and
that's true.
And it sucks. But that's another way to see like yourself if you are on drugs, is that like, how are you, especially like if you're a mother or you're in charge of something like super important, like who is going to believe you now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't you do drugs and you push so many people far away from you.
Yeah, that's true. Because
you're going to realize this shit one day when you actually need people.
But during the time that you're doing it, you don't realize that you're hurting out these people. Well, like I didn't realize, like I didn't hurt. I was just like, okay, I'm hurt. My hurt matters, not your guys's.
Oh, 100. That's what it is. It's mainly what it is. Like whatever you're feeling inside that you feel victim, like you are only trying to take care of that person only. You know what I mean? With thoughts of your grandma here and there.
Yeah.
But it's really, you're trying to take care of that victim that, and you don't even realize that you do care about yourself in some sense, that you're willing to do that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like you're willing to take care of yourself in that sense. But it's just like when I put out my episode, when I told you guys, like, I didn't drink all last holiday. I took the holidays. I was like, I'm not going to drink through this holiday, because last holiday I drank through it and I don't even know how I survived it. But I faced it instead. Like I faced my problem instead. I grieved. I went on through. And that's literally like almost the same thing. It's like you think that this will help you get through it.
Yeah. I wasn't going through it. I was running away from it.
Completely.
For a long time.
Yeah. If you can't do something sober, like if you can't go through something sober, that's hard.
Yeah.
You haven't even gone through it.
Yeah. I was running away from those feelings for a long time. A long time. So, one of my friends that came out of my quinceañera, he was a really good friend. He told me, hey, how are you? And that destroyed me. I like told him everything, my situation, like I might not have nowhere to live. Like we don't know. I'm leaving the Beacon. I'm taking everyone's stuff out. And he said, give me your resume. And I said, my job's only been like McDonald's and Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
Like
you were like, no careers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. So it lagged though. It lagged like 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm like, okay, it's not even gonna go through. So now I'm worried again. Now it's like the last day that I'm gonna be in the Beacon. I don't know where I'm going. We're taking the beds and stuff to the storage. My sister is gonna stay with my mom because she's like, where are you gonna go? I'm like, it doesn't matter. All that matters is like you're safe. And my grandma, I couldn't go with her because she lives like it's not like a designated old people home, but it's more like it's their
community.
Yeah, exactly. And so I couldn't be there, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember taking that stuff to storage, having my clothes in my car. And then I get a call and they want to interview me in Lake Forest. And I'm like, okay. So I went to Lake Forest in my beat up car.
Oh, the white people.
It was a like Mitsubishi or something like that, but it was so old. It was beat up. It was like crashed from the
Hey,
front.
girl, you had a car.
Yeah,
like
that's
you're 26 right now, bitch. This is when I got my car.
But like it was crashed in the front and the back, and I had to drive like an hour and a half to Lake Forest, not even knowing if it's gonna make it, and having all my clothes in my car.
Yeah, it sucks.
So I went to
a weak moment where
Yeah.
you were like, you were feeling it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I went to the interview and I got the job. So we asked the owner if we could stay for a week, and then I got my first check, and then we moved into a studio, me and my sister.
Oh yeah, good for you.
So we moved into a studio, and then my sister, my oldest sister with the girls, she was still having a tough time trying to find somewhere. So I just said, fuck it, move them in. So now it's the 3 girls, my older sister, my other sister, and me in a studio.
yeah.
And so like there's some of us sleeping on the floor, there's some on the couch, there's some on the bed.
Hey,
And
it's not
it's-
homeless.
That's true. That's very true. But like, I remember coming home one day and she's like, I'm sorry, Dart. This is the only blanket we have left. And it was like a little girl's blanket, like a kid's.
Yeah.
And that feeling,
Killed you.
I would never let my sister feel and tell me that again.
Yeah.
And I said, oh no, it's okay. I'm still on drugs at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, it's okay. I'm just going to go over sleep at a friend's house. But I wasn't really going to. I didn't have nowhere to go. I just said that so she wouldn't feel bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember those times. I'd just stay out.
Yeah.
I'd be out running around in the neighborhood.
Well, girl, you fucking survived those times.
Yeah. And so I would go to Lake Forest. I got the job. It was good. My sister worked with me, so it was like I ended up getting her a job.
Nice.
But
More
her
income
heart
in the house.
Yeah. Her heart problem didn't really let her because it was so many hours. It was like 6 days a week, 12-hour shifts.
Damn. Yeah. That's
So
fucking
she
your whole
physically
life.
couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm sorry, Dart, but if I work here, I'm going to die.
Damn.
And for her to tell me that, like, I'd see her sick and I couldn't tell anybody
Yeah.
because then she wouldn't tell me or like stuff like that. Like, so it was hard for me to wake up and I know she'd hear me and it would kill her that she couldn't go because now all the responsibility is on me. And I'm still on drugs.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not getting it together and I'm so frustrated with myself. Like, why am I not getting it together? Okay, because now this is stressing you out. And
yeah.
now you're using,
and drugs amplify that.
yeah. So now I'm using this as another excuse
To
on
fucking
top of
put
everything
more on
else
you.
that I went
Oh yeah, for sure. Because there's also that situation too where that's why you do the things that you do. So you just keep adding it to your plate. Well, now this happened, so now I need to escape somehow, some way, and then it just fucking keeps coming on to the plate.
Yeah.
But you fucking survived that.
Yeah.
And you helped your sister, and your sister has helped you.
Yeah.
You know, and I think just being in each other's lives have helped you, both of you. And I think that's the best thing that could have happened for both of you. You know, you guys had to go through that. You had to watch each other struggle.
Yeah.
You know, to get closer to each other and to have these little defiant moments. I'm fucking there for you.
Yeah.
You know, that's love.
Definitely. Without my sisters, I wouldn't be able to overcome a lot of things that I did. Because in the end, I was too ashamed and like I'm disappointing them again after everything we've been through.
Disappointment is a whole nother thing that will drop you down, because then there's the disappointment in yourself. Isn't that crazy? We're so quick to disappoint. We're so quick to say that we disappoint ourselves before we even love ourselves. It's weird, but that's just how the fucking cookie crumbles, until you learn one day that like you need to love yourself. And if you don't, you need to find a way to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You need to find a way too. That's why I suggest sometimes, I'm like, look, I get it, but like try and be sober. Like try it. Just try it. Like, and if you feel like, oh, I fucking need a drink and that's where it's at. Like that's literally where it's at. Like you don't think you can do it. You don't think you could survive it. You don't think you could live without it. You don't think that you can get through your problems without it. You really don't get through your problems with it.
No. You just escalate them more.
You just escalate them more.
Exactly.
So that's, that just goes to show in anything that anybody's going through right now, addiction or no addiction, that, because I'm not saying everybody's a fucking alcoholic, but I will say that like half the time people say like, I fucking need a drink.
Yeah, that's true. I hear a lot of people say that.
Mm-hmm. Why? Why?
Yeah.
Find your big reasons. Find your big reasons for everything. Why am I doing this? You know what I mean? All the whys, answer that shit for yourself every fucking day if you need to. Why did I stop? Because I fucking love my sister.
Yeah. And I honestly, like, I was so upset that we were so broken. Like, I wanted to do something. Yeah. I always wanted to help.
Sure.
Like, I'm like, what can I do? Yeah. So then I worked at Lake Forest, and then an incident happened where they said I was doing time fraud, which I really wasn't, but they said I was.
Okay.
So I got fired, and I was so embarrassed. I worked there a year already, but I was embarrassed. So then I went again, and I was on drugs, and now it's hardcore, because it's like hardcore like it haven't been before, because I am so disappointed, because you had that opportunity, because God gave you this chance, and you just threw it away. And
when you talk to yourself like that, you're going to put yourself through some shit.
Yes. So then.
Hold on real quick. Okay. We're on Twitch, right? You guys got to go pee. I'm like,
1 hour later.
Okay. Well, one thing I was thinking about while I was peeing was, dude, it was like forever. I was just fucking like pouring my drink out. No, I was like, for the homies. One for the homies. No, what I was thinking was, when you were telling me your story right now, it feels like the more problems, the more drugs you felt you needed to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
You were like, anything that was getting piled on, you were like filling up on drug
getting
level.
Numb, because it honestly made me numb.
Yeah.
Like my problems are still there, and I still know it. I still felt like shit, but I didn't feel like crying about it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like weak about it.
No, because it kept you on the move, and it kept you like still going.
Aware, good. Like, okay, I'm chill. I still have all my problems, but I'm good.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask you too, and I don't know why I didn't bring this up, but now that we brought up the car situation, that you had a car, and I did say this because I truly believe like you can't be broke and be a drug addict. I just don't know how broke people do it, and I know you can, but throughout the 4 years that you were on drugs, like how are you able to pay for it being poor?
My friends.
Okay.
I never really paid for it at all.
Damn. You have good friends. You know what I mean? Like, if I never had to pay for a drink, I have fun.
That's when I would tell myself, like, if you pay for this, you are a tweaker.
Oh.
And that's how it was, because at the beginning, I didn't have to pay for it at all.
Yeah.
Until I was trying to stop. So I stopped going around. I stopped going to the neighborhood. I stopped hanging around with people that do drugs. So then I still know people.
Is that the same for you right now? Or are you able to be around people who do drugs and handle yourself?
No, I don't go down there no more.
Yeah, you're just like, let me just keep away. Honestly, that's the fucking smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
It sounds like, even just seeing you, like, your whole body just, like, reacted to what I just said right now.
Yeah. It's crazy because you have to lose everybody. Because I lost my friends that were good, that had a good head on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And then I'm losing the friends that are from my addiction. So now you're by yourself. And
you get to an addiction because of the loss of what you think you lost, what you think you don't have. And then your addiction makes you lose 10 times more.
Yeah, because so what I started doing after I lost my Lake Forest job, I'd had the car and it was a legit car, not a stolen car and stuff like that, because that's what they have in the neighborhood. So I'd drive people to their deliveries or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And they would fill up my gas tank.
Okay.
And they would give me extra cash.
Nice.
And on the side, they would give me stuff.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
You started doing it like that.
I
where you
used
were
to say
able
it was
get
like
something.
a hood Uber.
It's probably where it came from. Who was the person who made up Uber? You're like, oh my God, I know that person.
Yeah, I swear it was like that. So that's where I was. That's why I say after I lost my Lake Forest job, it got really bad because that's how I got my money.
Yeah. I feel like losing a job too. Like I've been fired. Yeah, I know. I've been fired how many times? All right, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna show off. But being fired or being like let go of a job is like, it's almost like it could be as equal to like a breakup.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like shit. It's just a really horrible feeling.
I remember I was talking to a guy and he was kind of good when I lost my Lake Forest job. He didn't do drugs. He was like trying to tell me not to hang around with these people.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. But then I lost my job and I was so embarrassed. So I blocked him off everything. I blocked him on social media. I blocked him from my phone.
Oh my God.
Because I was so embarrassed because I felt like disappointment.
Damn.
Instead of like, I know right now this guy would have helped me and like,
Yeah.
you know, because I had everybody looking at my studio and like all
Yeah.
that stuff. He would have helped me because I would go to his house here and there, you know.
But not just, he would have helped. Yeah, he would have helped you in a lot of different senses.
But I
for
wasn't
sure.
ready.
Yeah.
I didn't want the help.
Yeah. And
I
that's
heard-
another good thing to bring up is that like also when you're not ready, you know. But you know what? I just went through something recently and I'm going to say it cuz I know I'm a really big person on like take your time. But I'm starting to learn a little bit too about this. Like I have a friend that we're not like really like we're friends. We've been friends our whole lives, like since we were in second grade. We met in second grade. We've been best friends. I know his family. He knows mine. It's always been a lot of love. And recently, like he was in the hospital and we haven't been talking. We don't talk. You know, he has someone in his life now and I don't know. We just stopped talking. He hit me up and I think because he thought maybe he was going to die or something. Mm-hmm. So he hit me up. And like, I kind of hate this part because why do we have to like wait until shit is just so bat fucking crazy? Or I even posted this shit. You learn the simplest things of life when you lose somebody. You remember the simplest things of life when you're about to lose somebody. Yeah. You're about to lose your sister. You felt like this could be the fucking moment. If she would have died, you would have just kept on.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would have felt like I disappointed her and I never stopped while
you would have been in deep shit.
Yeah, I would have. Because she, even till now, she reminds me every day how strong I am.
Yeah.
Because
why do we have to go to the why do we have to go to the deepest moment to make a move? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I say God teaches you your lessons and then you fucking decide. And they will keep repeatedly happening to you until you fucking learn.
Yeah.
That's why I don't play with God. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, shit, I fucking get it. Now I get it.
So I was Ubering the hood homies. And,
Uber.
So I ended up giving one of my homies a ride. And now he's from Compton, not my area.
Okay.
But I still gave it to him because I'm like, I need money, you know, I need gas, pay the rent, whatever.
Yeah.
So I went over there for just one time. And then they called me the next day like, hey, Dar, you can give me a ride. We'll give you money. I'm like, okay. So I went again. And then I ended up being out there for like a week. And it made me realize, like, God's telling you, choose your path, because what I seen over there was so bad.
Yeah.
And that's like their lifestyle.
100.
And not just because they're on drugs.
No, that's how the streets are.
Yeah. And they were like younger kids, like my niece's age, like the parents, like they had nowhere to go. Like it was like your trap house, but that was like your real house. And it was like their clothes, everything there. How I seen it, it was like when I came back to my neighborhood, I was like, that's God. God is telling you, choose your path. And if you keep going down this route, you're gonna end up there. Like,
good for you, girl. That you could see that through all that darkness.
And so that's when I tried, okay, I'm gonna try to apply to jobs. I kept applying. I had a few interviews, applying, not really, until this one, which was SpaceX. And I knew that wasn't me. I knew that life is not me. I've always knew that. I just got stuck.
Yeah.
I always like, never give up, Dar, never give up. That's what I always tell myself. I always told myself throughout my whole journey, if it's not good in the end, that means it's not the end, because it's always going to end up being good.
Wow.
Like,
That's a good way to see it.
I've always like tried, like even when I was younger and I was like sit and cry at the benches and stuff, like I've always tell myself it's not the end. So keep pushing, keep going.
Yeah. But I also see that like you have been, because this is what you do. Like God, you don't ever hear God, you know? Like,
no, you don't.
God doesn't like,
No.
This voice doesn't come out like of the trees when you're sitting at the park crying. Like just, mija, everything's going to be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of put it into your own head, and it's almost like your conscience and your heart telling you, like, this is what he's thinking.
Yeah.
When you believe in God, you like, you know, you can't see him. So your faith pops up and it will speak to you. I've been in plenty of those moments. In fact, I always felt alone. I always felt alone until a moment I had where I was just driving to work. And I was so grateful for I felt like I was just living this whole new life. You know, I just moved to Alhambra. I'm 10 minutes away from work. I'm finally at work where like, I'm talking white as fuck now. Trader Joe's fucking just, I'm moving on up, you know, in my head, because I know where I come from. So I'm thinking like, I'm just on this better thing. And I've survived so many things and whatever. And I think it was around Father's Day, because I remember thinking like, fucking bastard, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Left me alone. And I was having this lonely moment too, where I was like, you know, I've had my moments with my mom, my nana. We've all had bad moments where I'm like, you start feel more alone when you have to fight with the people around you, like, or you just don't agree, you know, you isolate yourself and you become more alone. And I remember driving to work, and I remember telling myself in that moment, like I was having like a grateful moment, and I was like, you know what, girl, like, you've been through some shit, blah, blah, but you look at you, you're driving a car, you just moved you're out of Montebello, you work in Pasadena, like, you know, everything ain't fucking great as you want it, but like, look how much you have done, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and you know what? The only person who has not left me throughout this whole fucking time of me, whether I was destroying my life or, you know, doing bad shit or getting put through bad shit that I didn't ask for, feeling all those alone moments, you know, not being heard when spoken up, like all those things, God's the only person who never left me.
Yep. That is true.
That was like that was a moment. And I literally picture it right now. Like I know exactly what street I was on, like, because it opened up my eyes to tell myself that, damn, you know what? This whole time I felt so alone. And he is the only person who hasn't neglected me. And I'm so worried about these other things.
Yeah, that's
when
true.
he is the greatest.
I was like mad at God for a moment. I think the moment when went to SpaceX, and I'm still on drugs. I'm not getting it together. And so now my sister found her place. She doesn't live with us anymore with the girls. Now it's just me and my other sister. but it's in the studio. We don't have our personal space. We're used to a big house where we had our own room, and I'm not happy still. I'm not happy, and I don't understand why. So now I'm mad at God because I'm like, why did you give me this opportunity when I wasn't ready?
Oh, you were having an ungrateful moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like not happy.
Yeah.
And then they're treating me really bad at work. I got hit by a car, and I'm like, so then they did a massive layoff. It wasn't my fault why I got laid off. There was like 50% of their company got laid off. And I was like, I was doing bad at that job still, and I was mad at myself, and I got laid off. So then that made me more mad at God. Like, I wasn't ready. So
Yeah. We have our moments.
and then I was mad that I wasn't ready, and I should have got ready, and then I didn't take that opportunity, because that's a big thing. People don't really get chances like that, because you literally have to know somebody or something like that, like to get in a company. And I didn't know anybody.
Yeah, you felt. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. But I also think that like around this time, you don't have what you have now.
Yeah, that's true.
You have a whole different type of understanding of yourself now compared to when you were like that. Because the person you talk about when you tell me you're on drugs and the things that have happened and the things that you've done, they're totally not on you right now.
Yeah. I don't, because right now I'm very proud of myself, because I don't work at SpaceX anymore, but I work at Northrop, and that's pretty similar.
Okay.
So Northrop's been around for way more years than SpaceX has.
Okay.
And
Well, see, you were mad at God when God had bigger plans.
yes, but that's what my sister told me. Like, one door closes, so many others can open.
That's why you got to keep that's where like the whole faith thing comes in.
Yeah, faith.
Like,
but it's
just-
crazy because when I was doing
gotta hold
drugs, the whole time I had my faith. They would even be weird, like, how are you on drugs but you're like believing in God and all this stuff? I'm like,
I see it all the
just leave me
time.
alone. Just
I
leave
see
me
it all the
alone.
time. It's a very, I see it all the time. And it's hard to say what that is. It's hard. There's no word for it.
Yeah.
There's no word for it. But you can be bad. You can be a sinner. You can be all these things and still
Have your faith.
have all your faith.
Like, so now when I think back, I just mean like, I was hurting. I wasn't going through my pain. I was just trying to run away from it. I've sat through my pain by myself. I had my feeling lonely moments. How am I going to get off this drug? I couldn't go to rehab because then I couldn't go to work. And then how was the bills going to get paid? Mm-hmm. So I had to try. I had to be strong. And that's when like I really like Jenny Rivera, because my mom, she grew up on that. And I always think like, what would Jenny do? Like, and especially
Same it.
she had a daughter, Chiquis, and she would ride her on the bike. Like, if Jenny could do that, you could too. She probably stood up really late studying and didn't get enough sleep. If she could do that, you could do that too.
Hell yeah.
And that's
why I say how important I feel like she is to our community.
Yes,
Because
very.
I'm like, that's a story to say like, she did it all.
yeah. And she still finished school, and she still was a realtor. And
She did that
was-
while fucking singing too.
Yeah.
Like,
And while being through an abusive relationship, while her daughters were going through all this stuff.
while her daughters were molested by her own man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she went through a lot.
A lot, yeah. And I use a lot of people's examples. Like, if they could do it, I could do it too. Like, I'm strong enough. People just have to believe in themselves, and they can overcome any obstacle in life. And honestly, I can tell you that right now fully and believe it, because I've done that.
Good for you, girl.
Because right now I'm so happy at my job. Like, everyone's so nice. Management's awesome. The hours are killer, but I'm glad that I have those hours.
Wait, look at what you're doing now also. Like, what you're going through now, where you're like, oh, these people are like this and this and that, blah, blah, blah. You are also in a different, like, you are also, like, you're not on drugs.
Yeah.
So you are also handling things differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd flip out so fast. Like, when somebody would try to, like, talk about me or, like,
Yeah. First of all,
look down on me.
Drugs enhance
yeah.
a lot of your emotions.
Yes.
and drugs trigger you. If that's why, like, you see people on drugs and they look like monsters, like they start like, swinging and they look angry and they're talking like, some of that should be happening, but it's like they have all that shit in them added to that. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, it can't be good. You know what I mean? Like in science, when they put certain chemicals together, if this causes an explosion.
No, it's not good.
You know what I mean? But you're so strong on the fact that, like, how drugs take you away from something that you don't even realize, like, especially being a functional drug addict. Like, you don't realize, like, you are someone else. You're not you. You weren't you for years.
I wasn't. And I thought I was.
Yeah, you thought you were.
Yeah,
so
because I'd go
those
to work.
problems be blown up, like, out
crazy.
of proportion. I was just telling people yesterday, like, yo, you got all these problems going on, blah, blah, blah. Like, separate them. Can I take care of this? Yep. Can I not? Nope. I'll pray for this shit, and I'm going to just try and take care of what the fuck I can. Now, if you're on drugs, you're like, I got all this shit going on and fucking this, and you know what? I don't even fucking want to deal with any of this shit. I'm just going to do this and then do what I got to do. You're adding more to your plate.
Yeah.
You're adding more to your plate. So if you're feeling like the fucking world is crashing in on you and all you want to do is drugs and blah, 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 like, it's not going anywhere, really. Like, I just don't see it going anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere.
But to the grave.
Yeah. Actually, like, I don't get temptations to want to relapse anymore.
Because you're feeling better.
Yeah. I'm proud of myself now. I have people to, I guess, like, I need to prove to my nieces that it doesn't matter what happened to you or nothing. Like, you can always be what you want to be.
For sure.
Like,
and you're barely proving that to yourself right now. So I'm going to just advise you that before you teach your nieces a little bit more of that you keep fucking teaching yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can definitely lose that shit.
Yeah.
Life comes at us in waves.
Different angles, definitely.
And I mean, knock on wood, I don't want you to lose your next job, but that could happen, right? And like something can happen. And like, how will you handle it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, I feel like it's too soon to even speak on, you know what I mean? Like, like for me, like if I see you as a homegirl, I'm thinking like, don't worry about them yet.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I want to
striving for yourself to show them.
Tell them that like when I'm through all this, like my recovery stage, I want them to look back and be like, my tia did it.
Yeah.
She was hard. It was hard, but she did it.
Yeah.
That's like one thing that I've always told myself. Like now they don't really know much. I'm just like the positive person.
Good.
So whenever they see like motivational stuff or stuff like, oh, this reminds me of my tia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because they don't really talk about depression in life.
Of course
and
not.
like talk about what you've been through and stuff like that. So it needs to be known.
Yeah, we didn't grow up like with the, that being in school, or like I said, especially in our culture, like, gente is strong and that's weak and that's frowned upon and this and that. But you know what? Like, we're in a different world and it's up to you to break the cycles. And people at my age and her age, we are the people that have to stand up to our families, and say, this is not right. And I don't have to keep doing this shit. You want to be a part of that? Cool. You don't want to be a part of it? Understand.
Honestly, that like listening to your podcast helped me do that with my family. Like when one of us get upset, I'm like, okay, you're upset. You have the right to feel upset, but why? We can't just keep going like, oh, I got mad. Just keep going, keep going. No, we have to sit there and be like, okay, this is what made me upset.
Yeah.
Or if you made somebody upset and you did, and you were just having a bad day, you can just go back and be like, hey, I was having a bad day. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Communication. I say this all the fucking time on the show. And one thing that like, I'm glad you said what you said right now, because some of those talks that I've had with my family on the podcast have been really fucking hard. Especially like one with my mom. And those are not easy conversations to have. And I even thanked her after, because I told her, like, I know that's not your cup of tea. I know that, like no one, my mom's not going to go on Facebook and post all the bad things that have happened to us. No, she's going to post when she's happy. She's going to post when her family's doing well, when her family has brought her honor, but she is not me. Me and my mom are totally different people. And I'm not always posting my like super failures, but I like to post in my stories and whatnot, like shit that I have failed and talk about the stories where I have failed because I fucking needed me when I was younger. That's who I am right now. I'm who I wanted to be and who I needed to be right now. And that's where I come from. You know what I mean? And me and my mom are different. And I have thanked her like after some of those hard podcasts to say like, trust me, mom. Like I know that was tough, but I promise you're going to help more. You know what I mean? Like I know it sucks. I know there's been a couple of times where I sound like such a bitch, you know, to my mom, but those were real feelings that I have had in my life. You know what I mean? That like I've had to, that I'm talking about and that I have let go. You know what I mean? That I have fucking really put myself through. And I would say like, I know this sucks, but your story will help someone else. And people tell me all the time that people love my mom. People love my mom. Like after doing some of these episodes, like even if I put her down at times for things that have happened in our lives, like they love her because they know that she did her best. You can hear it.
Yeah.
You could hear it. Like in the podcast, you could hear that she just did her best. And women who are moms right now relate so much to her and they feel her. They love her. They feel her. They know I'm not as relatable as my mom is to these women. We're just not. I'm not a mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I always say like, you know, I know it ain't always a cup of tea to hear these things on here. And I know some people would prefer like not to have certain things on the podcast because it's maybe too much. But in the long term, it helps everybody.
Yes. Honestly, like telling my story right now, I feel so released.
Good.
Like when I walked in, I was so nervous. My heart was beating.
You're at a total different like breathtaking.
Yes. Like I feel free almost to a point
Good.
where I'm like, I needed this.
Yeah.
Without even knowing that I needed it. Because
well, you know what? You manifested it.
Yeah, that's true. I did.
You did.
I did.
Yeah. Like I almost, you know, like I actually asked people like to reach out to me because I was finally like, okay, like I really need to ask people because people that wanted to hear these podcasts are drug addicts. People that were asking me are drug addicts. And I was like, dang, well, I don't know how to help you without going through that. I don't know what that feels like. I'm not a drug addict. I've never been. So how motherfucker am I going to help them? You know what I mean? So I knew having someone to come here and tell their story is really hard and difficult, but I'm glad you feel relieved. I tell everyone this is my therapy, you know what I mean? And you're going to get some feedback. You're going to get some good feedback. I know this.
I also want to say like anybody who's battling with a drug addiction, like I lost my train of thought real quick. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It happens. Drink a little bit of that truth serum and it'll come out.
I also want to say like you can do it without rehab.
Yeah, you did it without yes. rehab. And just so we're aware, I'm having somebody else come in here to talk about the rehab situation. So if you're like, hey, well, you don't know what it's like to even be in and out of rehab, like we do have that coming, but she's literally suggesting that somewhere along all those problems that she had, you can muster up the strength to get it done.
And mostly, I recall a lot of times when I was off and on at the very end, looking myself in the mirror. I had a backdoor mirror and I looked at myself so many times. And I remember like picking up and then doing some, feeling guilty, flushing the whole thing.
Damn.
Because I was like,
damn.
Yeah, I didn't want to. That wasn't me, but why can't I stop?
Yeah.
Because it takes you to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you are beautiful. This is your life. Do you want to end up like the people on the street?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying rehab is bad. No, I am with it. I'm with mental health, counseling, rehab, anything that helps you better your mental state. Yeah. I'm with it. I just never did it.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't have the resources, is that I just financially, it couldn't work for me.
And there's that part too. If you're gonna make up the excuse that like, wow, it takes this to do that, or like, or we can't afford that, or blah 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 blah, like, or this is the rehab center and it's really really bad, so I couldn't, like, she's kind of putting it out there that there's like, this is your way of doing it if you don't have that.
Yeah, it has to do with. I looked at myself in the mirror. I want to say like more than 100 times. And there's
conceited.
No, it's not only the bad things I tell myself. I try to tell myself the good things too.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I have to do that.
It's necessary because you are looking at yourself. That's a reflection.
100%. And these are affirmations, you guys. Like,
yes.
This is, look, I do it all the time. And sometimes, like, if I catch myself, I'm the type, this is when I know I'm really bad. When I start avoiding looking at myself.
Yes.
You're in a bad place when you don't even want to look at yourself. Like, you can't look at yourself in the eye. You can't tell yourself anything nice. You don't even want to fucking look. You wash your hands and you just fucking, chale, I ain't looking at that shit. And it's a bad place to be in. And then I have these moments too where I'm like, nope, we're not going to do that. And I'll directly go over to the mirror and I'll tell myself like, Sammy Jo, be nice, bitch. Like, be kind to yourself. You've made it like this far. Come on.
Yeah.
And it's as little as that sounds. I was like, what? Like a sentence, a few words. It changes my whole fucking day. I have to remind myself. And I would say that too. If you get lost in the sauce, remind yourself. Fucking remind yourself. You only have the accountability for you. Her sister couldn't tell her. Her sister couldn't make her quit. Like, your family can't do it for you. No one, your partner can't do it for you. No one. I know Norbert does everything for me, but he cannot do it for me. If you know what I mean? So you have to be strong for yourself to survive. Because maybe it was her sister's life that she said, oh, well, then I need to do this. But it was her who decided that I have to fucking do this. I'm the one who has to do it. And yeah. And I think you're there. You know, even hearing some of those moments too where you're like, did some and then you like you just want to throw it away. You don't want to do it.
No, I didn't for a long time. There was like 5 or 6 times I just threw it away.
When I told you earlier, I said, do you hang out with those friends or do you go out with those friends? And I said your body like did something. Like, yeah. I can tell right away. Honestly, it almost felt like I shot anxiety through you just a little bit. Like, it just like almost scared you.
Yeah.
You know, those feelings, those anxious feelings, like that's leading to somewhere. That's not a good place.
Like, I don't feel like those people are bad. They're just not for me.
No, it's not even exactly. But you know how you are around those people. It's really not the people.
No, it's not. It's the person you are.
It's the person that you know who you become around those people.
Exactly.
I get nervous to go drink with friends. Like, I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm getting anxiety. Like, we're gonna get wild as fuck, you know, like, but like that. Where I could literally see that I shot anxiety in you, I was just like, oh fuck, like you're gone from it. You don't want it, and even to bring that part up, kind of like freaked you out because it almost could make or break, huh?
Yeah, I'm scared to touch it again because I feel like there would be no coming back.
Yeah,
and I don't want it because I know that my life is worth so much more.
After you listen to this, you're not going to touch it no more.
No.
That's another thing.
It's been a year and a few months, but I don't want it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to become that person. I don't want to disappoint a lot of people. I don't want, you grow up and you see, you're like, oh yeah, my uncle was an addict. Like, I don't, or is on drugs right now. Like, just leave.
You don't want
something.
your nieces to turn around and say,
like, yeah, Tia's way out or something. Like, no, never. I'd be so hurt. Myself, I'd hurt myself. Like, that's
good.
I got through so much hurt that I'm like, that's the number one thing that's causing you to go back and hurt more. Like, I'm ready to be free. I'm ready to do
breathe.
Hobbies for myself. So I moved into my apartment and we have a 2 bedrooms. She has her own space. I have my own space.
Okay.
It's in a good area.
Yeah, you
it's
have nice
above
things.
Gaffey now.
Yeah.
So
hey, moving on up. That's right.
So I feel like
grateful. Finally,
Yeah. And
you finally feel grateful. You have overcome something. You feel grateful. You're able to do. You're in a place that you always wanted to be, but something was holding you down.
I even helped my little brother start his own clothing brand.
Nice.
Because we didn't grow up with a lot of clothes. We had a lot of hand-me-downs.
For sure.
From my grandma. She used to clean houses in PV and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And he wanted to start a clothing brand where it was affordable, nice. He's like in the skater scene. So he can help kids that don't have a lot of money.
Hell yeah.
So I helped him with his first job, and then he saved all that money that continued to help him with his next job and next job. And it's getting there where he wants it to be, and I'm like
Very
so
good.
proud of him. And that's the brother that I raised.
Yeah.
So one time he wrote me something and I almost cried because he was like, you're not just the person that took care of me. Like, you're the one that I learned photography from, where I got my music.
You don't know people or the brothers and sisters and the kids. They're watching like a hawk. I say this all the time.
And then he's like, you're not the person. When I hear mom and grandma talk about you, it makes me sad because I know that that's not you. You're just the person that's hurting. Yeah. And I was like, wow. Like, I'm so proud. And because he just told me this like a few months ago. So like, I don't even feel the need or want to go back to that lifestyle that I had, because why would I throw all this away? Like, my sisters are so proud. Like, when I told my grandma to come on this podcast and show my story, she's like, it was literally before I came. She was like, I'm so glad you're doing positive stuff with your life. Like, to hear my grandma tell me that, it's almost everything to me, because she helped me so much. And like, I wanted her to be so proud of me and see how much I helped my siblings and everything when she was still here alive.
Yeah.
Because without my grandma, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And like, I tell her like, Grandma, I'm going to help you buy groceries. I'm going to give you money now. And she's like, no, I don't need it. I'm like, no, Grandma, because you helped me when I didn't.
Yep.
And she just cried. And I'm just like, wow, that was the moment that I always wanted.
You're so blessed to have that moment. Like, I know I had a lot of moments with my Nana where I was able to take care, like, bring her things and stuff like that. But someone I talked to about their problem, it was shortly after my Nana died. And this person who is a drug addict, I know her family and I know her grandmas. And I remember looking at her in her eyes and telling her, like, once they're gone, that's it.
Yeah.
Once they're gone, that's it. You can, like my sister right now, she's posting her things and she's like, God, I wish like my Nana could see this. I wish my Nana could see this. Like, you're so blessed to have the moment of letting her see you succeed. You're so blessed. And some of these people don't realize, like, you only get one mom. You only get one dad. You only get one grandma and grandpa. Well, you get your 2 sets, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, once they're gone, they're not here. There's so many people that are very, very ungrateful for everything that their grandparents. It's not even that you're ungrateful. It's that you just take it for granted. You don't know how grateful you should be.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm ungrateful, but, like, oh, I'm grateful, but no. Like, you just don't know it yet because they're not gone yet. But when they're gone, that's it. And if you're not talking to your family members when you're going through this and you keep pushing yourself away because you want to be on drugs, just remember what I'm telling you right now. Go ahead. If you feel like you got it all figured out, you're a functional drug addict, cool. But you and your family aren't tight no more. The people that raised you, the people that made sure you had everything you needed for school, for sports and things like that, and you don't even have it in you to show them different while they're here, that is going to eat you up. That will fuck you up forever. And you are so grateful that you're able to have that moment. And she's going to be extremely proud. She is extremely proud, you know, I say that because I'm like, God, like I wish my Nana could see this.
Yeah, like honestly, I would tell my grandma not in depth. I would tell her all the time how much she means to me, but not as much as I started listening to your podcast and about how much your grandma means to you and stuff. I'm like, my grandma needs to know this right now.
Yes, agree, because if you have listened to the podcast, you would know there is so many things like I wish I could go back on, you know, and even if I feel like I did my best, like towards the near end years, like I still kick my own ass for things that I should have done while she was here. But I'm glad it makes you feel like that. I'm glad it makes anyone feel that way because, like I said, sharing those things hurt me, but that made me feel better. And I know that my Nana would be like, I know that my Nana would be proud of something like that. You know what I mean? I know that my Nana would be proud of something like that. One thing I wanted to say too, you've only been a year and a couple months completely sober, right?
Yes.
And you are like in a really good place right now. I want you to know that you aren't even like at the place that you're at right now, which is a really good one. Like I see like all the good in it, and I'm like, dang, like cool. You're on your way, and you're only you're not even. You're just finding out about yourself still. You're still learning about what you like about yourself. Yeah. Finally, you're actually learning about stuff that you like about yourself.
I finally want to make myself happy.
Girl, shoot for your best potential. Shoot for your best potential. Do your fucking cooking show. Set all your goals, because you're not even halfway to where the fuck you're about to go.
Thank you, Sammy. It means a lot to me. Honestly, like, you have influenced my life a lot. Like, not a little bit, a lot. Like, listening to your podcast, like, sometimes I'm at work, like, blinking so many times so I won't tear up. Or, like, I'm just, like, people, like, okay, I'm just listening to my podcast right now. Like,
I'm crying. It's Sammy Jo's.
Like, I am so glad that you put this podcast out and I found it with
I'm so glad.
Like, you don't even know, you probably helped so many people, but I can sit here and tell you right now, like, you really helped me influence my life. And it, honestly, it almost helped me be more sober.
Wow.
And not want to be like, no, like, because now I don't just say, what would Jenny do? I say, what would Sammy Jo do?
And I'm following Jenny, so you're on the right path, bitch.
Yeah. Like, hell no, Sammy wouldn't take this shit. Like,
oh, that's good. That's good. You know what? And well, in anything I do, like on here, and me telling you that about, like, because I'm thinking like, oh my God, you know, I feel like I had a late start in life. So like this podcast has only been put together like a year and a couple months, right? So I'm in the same place as you, but with the podcast. We can only shoot for better.
Yes.
We can only get better. We are trying every day to shoot for our best potential. You know what I mean? And when I was telling you that, it's because I felt like, oh shit, like she just did, you know, like she has just started to search and find out. And I remember those feelings of finally finding motivation, finally knowing what the fuck that is and how it's gonna make my life better. And I went for it and I kept fighting for it. And you know, and you just about to see all the fucking doors you are able to fucking open because you're deciding to be strong, and you're deciding that you love yourself so much that it's worth pushing for.
Yeah. Honestly, like, when you're also getting sober, something that you have to tell yourself is like, it's okay that I went through those things.
Yeah.
Like, because you know what they say, like, God gives his toughest battle to the strongest people. And I honestly really believe that, because when I was younger, I tell myself, I wouldn't be going through this if God knew I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And I went through so much stuff, and I was never like, why God? The only reason why when I was so upset at God was when I lost my job.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to, but not that hard. I didn't want it as hard as I thought I did because I wasn't stopping.
Hey, most people don't want to lose their brother to a gunshot. You know what I mean? I know people who blame God for the deaths around them. You know, like that happens like very frequently. You know what I mean? And I know those moments of blaming God for something. I know those moments. I haven't had many, but I know I've had moments where I'm just like, ugh, like really, like anytime, especially like those times, like when I woke up in Vegas, like you know the abortion episode, like I was like why?
Yeah.
What? Like why would like you know? And I just remember like. This is a lesson. There is something to fucking learn here. And I would suggest that you put your brain in that mode is like when you find yourself being upset with God, you have to ask yourself, what is God telling me? You know, and perspective changes everything. So either you're like, what the fuck? This is fucking God's fault. Or you're like, you know what? Like my brother got shot because he was in a gang.
Yeah.
I think I should stay away from that gang life now. Take what you need to take from the fucking big disasters in your life and find a way to make it positive. As hard as that fucking is, take your moment. You need to have your day. You need to have your 2 days, your week. Fine. Go ahead. But look for it. Look for those fucking things because they're there to show you something. So now when God puts some things on me, like right now, I'm kind of going through a lot of shit right now. And I keep going because I'm like, I'm not going to lose my faith. I'm not going to blame him. Yeah. He wants us to learn something here. Something's happening where he wants me to figure this out and I have to fucking pay attention. And then we're here today. And even though I feel like giving up every day, you tell me what this podcast does for you. And God spoke to me through you today.
I feel like I have to tell you that you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Like so much. I know sometimes we don't believe it or sometimes we don't get told often, but you're doing a really good job.
Thank you. This shit comes in waves. Like shit comes in waves. You have a good week, you have a bad week. Norbert now I'm not alone in the room, so like he sees me coming in and he like you just know.
Yeah.
I'm not good every week. Some weeks I'm just totally fucking, I'm not feeling it, but we get here and we do what we got to do. We show up.
Yep.
And that's what I'm learning from God too, is that he's like, if you show your faith, you stay as strong as you possibly can. And you show me that like all those bad things, like you love me and you're showing me all your faith so much, you're going to survive it. That's what I feel like. He doesn't grant me until I learn the lesson and until I fucking just go through it and survive it. If I know what it's like to not fully go through things. I know what it's like to hide behind a drink. I know what it's like to hide behind people. I know I've hid plenty of times. But I'm just trying to do something different, and I've been trying to do it ever since. And that the podcast like definitely put me in that place. And it also taught me too, and this episode should teach you as well. You don't have to be me for this, but like you wanted to help other people, like you just helped a lot of people today, you know? And that is priceless. So I had always said too, like you guys, like it's almost like God's podcast, because I'm like, I wasn't getting paid to do this, you know? Like I have a sponsorship, and like when we get paid, and I'm very grateful. But I don't just count on that. Like if I have to fucking go DoorDash to make sure that I do this, I'm going to continue doing it because I know what it does in silence. You know what I mean? Like she just told me things, but like I know what it does in silence. I know when people write to me and they tell me certain things. I don't get it all the time, but here and there I get some really fucking big ones. And when I know what it does there, I know that I'm following my purpose, because those times that I was driving to work and saying like, dang, God hasn't left me. I've also had those moments of wanting to give up, to say like, well, what do you want me to do? Should I just stop? Like, and then something happens where it's like, you just can't give up on God either.
No, you can't. That's one thing I always had my faith. Always.
And that has literally held you here.
Yeah. It helped me through so many things.
Big time. It's held you here. Because he was like, oh, go ahead. Keep doing what you're doing. Go ahead. Oh, you hate what you're going through? Okay, you think that makes it good? Okay, keep doing it. Boom, boom, boom,
I think the number one thing that I want to like tell people is that you just got to keep going. You can't let your problems define you. And when you're on drugs, you're letting your problems define you. There's a lot of ways
100.
you can try to stop. I have so many journals. I have so many calendars trying to stop. I have all these things. But the thing is, I tried every single day.
Yeah.
I failed a few times. A lot of
Effort
times.
makes the biggest difference in your
Yes.
life. Effort. So even if she failed, even if she got a journal, got a calendar, but then she failed, it's the effort that you're putting towards there. You know what I mean? You know how many times I've done it where I'm like working out, and then I fucking damn breakfast burritos, like it got me, like I failed. And then it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm fucking get garden salad fries now. Now I just put on, how easy it is for me to gain weight? Like I just set myself behind by giving up in those moments and letting them defeat me completely. That's why I say, like, yeah, it's okay to feel defeated, but keep fucking going.
Yeah. Don't stay there.
Don't stay there.
And if you're doing any kind of drugs, you are running away from something. There is no such thing as a productive addict. Zero.
I said it.
And that's coming from a retired addict.
That's coming from a retired addict who thought she was a productive addict.
Yeah, because I had a job.
Yeah.
I had money
Yeah.
at the end.
A functional addict. That's why I said in the beginning, like I noticed that people were like, well, I was functional. Yeah, but you're addicted to this thing you
Yeah.
felt like you can't live without, and it just destroying you.
And then
now your family's falling apart. You don't know where you're gonna live. Like it's just what good has any drug did anybody? And and now that I'm saying this reminds me of the story, the podcast I did with my friend who was a drug addict. I had told her, you never hear a good ending in a drug story.
no, that's what I was about to tell you right now.
There's never a good ending.
You
never,
always are going to lose something.
for sure. Yeah, people love like the cartel stuff and the talking of this and that, but how does that end?
They usually lose something or go to jail or die.
Family members, you put your own family at risk. You know what I mean? Like those stories are never end well. You're either put under or someone that you love is put under. And so at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, like, am I doing this because I think there's some type of good ending at the end, or am I doing this because I'm like, no, I'm just gonna die someday, so fucking I'm doing it. I don't think everybody's thinking like that. No. You have to decide what you're here for. And that's another thing. Find out why you're here.
Believe in yourself.
Because a lot of people get lost in that sauce because they just don't know what the fuck they're supposed to be doing here. And that comes along with all the things that happen in your life that make you feel like you don't belong. And all those things that happen in your life that make you feel alone. It's hard to see through the fog of all those things. But drugs, it's hard to see, period.
Yeah.
Now it's a fog, and now add drugs to it. Like, well, you don't see shit. So clear it all up. Find out what you're supposed to be doing. And find what's going to make you happy. Because I don't feel like drugs make you happy.
They don't.
I don't think so. I think they just make you worse. And I don't say that with an easy tone. I really don't. Because I don't see that it's easy at all to stop for people. You did it for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know people who've done them way longer than that. you know.
But even then, they could stop if they put their mind to it.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I have family members who have died from this. And I'm talking like in their old age, still died from that. So it's true. You can survive as a drug addict and you could live on a life, but you are living in a life that like you are living in a life from your survival mode. And you're not living in the life that you could live like that you wanted. Don't tell me you're from the hood and you're like, I'm cool here forever, fuck it, blah, 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 blah. If you had the decision to live in fucking Beverly Hills in a nice ass fucking house and take your family and you're going to pick the one that you want. You're not going to say fucking Compton.
No.
You know what I mean? You ain't saying shit like that. But you're not going to get anywhere close to that place if you still want to be stuck in survival mode. And I don't give no advice without taking my own advice for real. Cause I am now thinking about this. This is my week has been to tell me that I need to get out of my survival mode. I have been in it my whole life and I need to grow up, and I'm growing up and I'm growing up. And I'm like, shit, I didn't even notice that I have been in survival mode this whole time, and I'm going to thrive when I get out of it, and I'm going to work on it. You know, like I said, you could only get better and better, and we're not even there yet. And you're not even there yet.
No.
You're just getting started, girl. And things are looking up. Things are looking better right now. Can you imagine what it's going to be in a couple years?
I always say like wonderful things are coming in the future.
Girl, you now know both sides of the world.
Yes.
And you know what you get on one, and you know what you get in the other.
And I don't want that life in the back. Put it behind me.
Make your grandma proud.
Yes.
Continue to do what you got to do. Make your family proud because they're very proud of you. You know, there's love there. And be proud of yourself. You know what I mean? And I can't wait for you to listen to this.
Thank you.
And be proud of you sharing your story with this many people.
Thank you.
Because there's a lot of people listening.
I really appreciate it.
Oh, no. We appreciate you.
Thank you for
real.
this opportunity.
Thank you, girl, for sharing that with me. Because that was
going to help me heal.
And I am happy to be a part of that. Like I say this with no like, I'm very happy to be a part of it, because that lets me know that I'm doing what I prayed for.
Yes.
You know, those days of going to that job, I have prayed so many times when I would get something good coming that I'd be like, thank you, God. Like, take me to that next level. Take me to that next level so I could spread your message. Keep taking me to that next level so I could spread your message. Because maybe that's not all what the podcast is about, and you don't have to be a big God fan. But for me, if that is going to be my purpose and then God keeps taking me, then that's what the fuck it is, okay? And I also pray to my homegirl, Jenny Rivera. Because she, you know what? Norbert, the producer, didn't come around until I prayed to her. I swear to God. I swear to God, I got on my knees because I had her son here. And that podcast sounded so bad. And like it was a good podcast, but like the sound was bad. The sound quality was bad from the show before that. And Norbert is the person that was like, hey, like, let me help you out with my sound. And I was like, dude, this is going to be a really good podcast with her son. I cannot rep wrong right now. The repping the big homegirl. So Norbert helped me. And that's when Norbert came around, and he has impacted this whole podcast. And I believe that fucking Jenny Rivera sent him to me, because I was on my knees and I told her, I don't fuck around when I say this. I was on my knees on the floor and I was like, look, like, I'm so glad, like, I found out your story. I'm so glad, but you just let me know that I'm another homegirl like you who's supposed to, like, become bigger. I'm supposed to do it. Like, the way I saw her life, we don't have the same life. We totally grew up totally different. But a lot of those survival things that she went through, and a lot of that mentality is I have it. And I felt like I need her to take me to that next level, because she's not here. She's not here. We can't, if she would have had a podcast, oh shit.
Yeah. Honestly, I was listening to Jenny Vera on the way over here.
Good. Put you in the mood.
Yes.
But for real, like she's not here to represent
No.
for herself. And you know what? She has her kids here, but they can't represent completely for the type of homegirl she is. She's a certain type where like I feel very related to that. And I'm like, help me make an impact that you would make if you were here.
Yeah.
And I promise you, shit fucking started changing for me. Shit started changing for me. Because I think homegirl knows that I'm being sincere. I'm being super fucking truthful. Like, you're not here, work through me. God's not here, work through me. You know what I mean? And I'm just glad that, like, you guys feel that shit. I think you guys really, really feel it. And I'm glad I keep expressing it because I sound fucking crazy sometimes. But I'm still gonna be crazy. That's what I do, baby. But okay, well, let's wrap this up because we've been here for 3 hours and a pee-pee break. Never done that before. But thank you to anyone who is on Twitch. I don't know what's going on right now. It's Saturday night. You know, I had to bring her here when she volunteered to speak her truth. I was excited to hear from someone. I'm excited to also have an audience member because you guys, I fuck with you guys. Honestly, me, Norbert, and the audience, everyone else eat shit. Unless you're new, welcome. But yeah, I'm happy with today. I'm happy that this happened. I'm happy that she was able to share her story with us, and anyone else who feels like they got something to say, if you think this is the place to, you know, share your life, you know, to share your story and to, you know, to help people, hit me up. You guys know what's up. You guys know I'm super open to all that shit. I check my DMs and do all that stuff. So don't be afraid. And if you are afraid, it's okay. You know, just take your time. But I want to thank Darlene.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, girl. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you guys for watching.
For sure. And thank you to, like I said, thank you to anybody who came out on Twitch. I'm not sure what's going on in there. But if you guys don't know what's going on, we do Twitch live for the podcast. And then I go ahead and upload it the following week. And you guys could hear it on Apple, Spotify, and all those good things. Lots of new shit coming up. So I just released 2 episodes today and yesterday. It's been crazy. The sound sounds kind of crazy. That's why I called it. Sorry, the sound sucks. But listen to it. I think they're both really good podcasts. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave on that note. And I think it was a great podcast today, huh? Norbert, you feeling it? Norbert did the thumbs up. So we're good to go. And it's the Homegirl Fox. Bye.